second here, just because it doesn't let me hit the button until you're already live.
Yeah.
I'm live now.
Sweet. Okay. Yes. Sorry for the delay. Still dealing with technical difficulties, unfortunately, but we are here for our most, probably this is definitely our most important show of the year, the Football After Hours Awards, the first edition of this set of awards show. We've done these awards that are past employers. I think this is the 5th year as a whole we've done this. Obviously, Scoop's brand new to this process.
Yep, I'm the rookie on the roster.
Yep. So Scoop's very new to this process. Very excited to have you along for this ride, along with Shane and Brandon and myself. Robert, good to be here. So here's the deal. We have 24 awards. We are going to go as quick and as efficient as possible. We're not going to be as elaborate as other shows. We have too much to get through. It's just not going to happen. So that's just what it is. We just can't do it. We have a lot to get through. We have obviously the AP awards. We have some individual awards. We're just going to run through a lot of these different stuff very quickly. Beginning with their most important award, the AP Most Valuable Player. And Scoop, for some reason, has been teasing this to us for at least 2.5 months.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Not deliberately.
Well, the issue is, Scoop, I've told you like 10 times to wait for this specific show, and you keep asking, do I say it now? Do I say it now? I'm like, Scoop, wait for this show. That's what I've been very clear on.
Because I keep getting confused by like the conversation in which it's brought up.
I tried my best to be very clear that it's this show that you say.
It's not your fault at all. It's me being a complete knucklehead.
Okay, so here's the deal. The reason I'm starting with this is because this award, I have vetoed it already. I know who this is going to. I'm giving it to 2 people because I don't even know who to pick, and it's killing me, and it's causing me a lot of pain, both physically and emotionally and mentally, picking this award. But Scoop might cause me more physical, emotional pain with whatever he's going to do. So, Scoop, I'm going to let you go because it's not in this nominees list. Who do you think should have been in this nominees list?
Yeah, so I'll try and make this as quick as I can. But, again, there's the evergreen debate, right? Most valuable player versus the best player, and we've talked about it ad nauseum.
That's why we're doing a most outstanding player after this.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to say. So I'm glad that we have that type of thing, differentiation, and Associated Press. Anytime you want to take that idea from this show, go ahead.
Take it from the Canadian Football League because that's where we took it from.
Okay,
take it from Canada.
I mean, you follow them more than I do.
Take it from Canada because that's where it comes from. They don't have an MVP award. They have a Canada. Canada does this award better than America. That's disgraceful. It's disgraceful.
Yeah.
Anyway, so and again, I'm gonna try and make this quick. But basically, when I thought of like the actual most valuable player, I mean, obviously it's a quarterback. I'm not doing anything crazy here by picking a tight end or somebody. But just looking at what the league was this year, looking at the fact that there are certain quarterbacks who I think just had to truly put more on their back to get their teams to where they were, and that can be for myriad different reasons. It could be from, players getting injured. It could be from a defense that wasn't coming through. It could be from any number of things. Or it could be this quarterback who had to deal with all of that. And according to, advanced metrics with expected points added by individual quarterbacks themselves, and somebody who quite literally was basically responsible for retooling his offense on the fly and dealing with different guys, missing his tight end, missing offensive linemen, one thing or another, and even having a season come down to the fact where people debated whether his OC or his entire head coach should be let go at the end of the season, despite the fact that this guy played very well until he got injured late in the season. You've probably already picked up who I'm talking about. I would have put Jordan Love on this list, so.
I don't hate it. I honestly really don't. I really don't like it. I really like it. I really like it. I'm being dumb right now. I really like it, Scoop. I really do, because because you laid it out perfectly. I mean, this is a player that got to the playoffs with almost nothing at his disposal. I thought it was going to be even worse than I thought. I thought it was going to be like I really thought you were going to say like Bryce Young or something. Like I thought you were going to go that weird. Okay.
No.
So no. I don't hate this at all. Brandon Shane, yeah. I don't hate this at all. I really don't.
Yeah, I don't. I definitely think that it's that, you know, when you're missing your all world tight end, you're missing you're having a little bit of inconsistencies with Josh Jacobs. Your line's not great. Your receivers definitely aren't that good. When you're basically, you're willing your offense to win games pretty much.
Yeah.
And he's battling through his own injuries really not even just this year, last 2 years, but especially for this year.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty good case to make. I think he should have been in there for sure.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Yeah. And especially like, I mean, I don't know who I was expecting you to say, but it wasn't him. I don't know why.
You guys kept giving me names that you thought it was going to be, and I'm like, you guys are wildly overdoing this.
Can I give a suggestion of who should have been? So there's two guys in this. There's two guys in this MVP list because Scoop just convinced me that should have been in this list for nominations that weren't in here. So I'm gonna list them off: Josh Allen, Trevor Lawrence, Drake May, CMC, and Matthew Stafford. I'm not gonna lie, I would have replaced Allen and Lawrence with who you said, Jordan Love, and I honestly think JSN should have been on this list, and I think it's asinine that he wasn't on it.
I wouldn't agree with that.
Well, but why? Yeah, wide receiver is never going to be your most valuable.
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Like
that's fair.
Like I think he kind of has a Saquon Barkley-esque argument to me, where I think that you can argue he was so great at his position, he deserves at least an outside thought, but he was never going to realistically win.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. So Brandon Shane, who did you take between Stafford and May?
Yeah.
Well, I debated this for a long time. For a while, I was on the Stafford train, then I was on the May train, then I was back on the Stafford train. And I'm officially going to pick Drake May.
Okay.
Because, look, I just think what he did coming into a situation where, last year his team won 4 games, and then with a new coaching staff, granted it's a good coaching staff, but still it's a change. But he's in the Super Bowl, this offense was. I mean, he didn't have a lot to work with. The offensive line, it's not good. Doesn't have very good weapons. His backs are just okay. He was, probably a top 5 quarterback in the league this year. So, won the division against Allen, and, so I think that's, to me, that's just so much more valuable, hence the word, than what Stafford did. So,
yeah. Brandon, who did you end up taking?
Yeah, I was on the Stafford train all the way through until about, almost week 17. But by the end of it, I mean, I eventually did pick Matt Stafford. And I think, and I picked Stafford just because, I mean, he's got a lot. For a lot of things, a lot of times when you have 2 quarterbacks, they're always going to pick the quarterback who throws for more touchdown passes. And Stafford threw, I think, was it like 10 to 15 more than Drake May this year. That's just part of it. But I think Stafford also we also came into this season saying, hey, he has a bad back. And we didn't know how he would.
Chronic. He has chronic back and leg issues.
We didn't know how he would perform. We said that coming into the season. We don't know what Stafford's going to look like. Is he going to be even healthy? And he came out and did that. And I think the AP voters are going to vote for him anyway, just because May's got plenty more years in this league, but for Stafford, this cements his legacy. So I think overall, when I look at the grand scheme of things, I mean, hell, he even got Devontae Adams, who hasn't had a double-digit touchdown season in like 3-4 years, who's basically a little bit past his prime now. He got him 14 touchdowns this year. He led the league in touchdown receptions, and so Stafford found him the ball. So that right there is like a miracle these days. So I just think between the issues with the health, and I just think that when you got that many more touchdown passes, like a lot more, like, he's got a lot more help than May, but he also, outdid May for a lot of this season. So I think overall Stafford's body of work was just and no slight to Drake May. Drake May, I think, is going to win like 2 or 3 of these things going forward, but Stafford, I think, needs it, and I think he got it. So.
Yeah. Afternoon, Josh. Our boy Josh is in the YouTube chat. Thank you for joining us. I'm just gonna come on and say it. I feel like I'm being a dick with this award. This is the first year where I felt like I am making a really very biased decision here, but I feel justified, especially after Bill Belichick didn't get in this year to the Hall of Fame. I have said this for years that even with how good Stafford's career is, I think the Detroit era will hurt voters forever, and because they just have a skewed view of it. So I'm going to give it to Stafford just because he's a Hall of Famer and deserves to get in, and this puts him in because the voters, I think, don't know what they're doing, and so if you put an MVP in front of it, he's in.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do it for that because, as you said, Brandon, Drake May will get one of these. I'm very confident he'll get multiple of these. I'm going to give it to Stafford. Scoop, your guy wasn't on this list, but if you had to pick someone from this list, as per the rules, who are you taking? Scoop, are you muted?
Yes, because I didn't want to interrupt anybody who was talking. And I know.
No, you're okay. Please go.
Yeah. So I know what you said with that stipulation. I did want to honor that. So with that in mind, between the two, I did go with Drake May. I've spoken in the past about how just he completely wowed me this season from where I thought he was. And I mean, again, another situation where we talked about it this year. Aside from Coach Vrabel, does that team not forget about in the Super Bowl? Is that team even winning a playoff game with a quarterback much inferior to Drake May? I don't think so.
Yeah, no.
And I think that even despite the struggles of Stafford late in the season, I think you can also make the argument that with a slightly inferior quarterback, the Rams team doesn't go much less far than they did. No disrespect to Matt Stafford, but I'm just saying I think that team with McVay, I think that team with the players that they have right now and with the experience that they have, I think you can argue that team, he definitely won them a couple games this year, but I definitely think you can make the argument that they don't take as much of a fall off from him to the quote unquote average QB that the Patriots do. And then I'll add my second. This is where I did kind of, I don't want to say mess around, but I wouldn't have had Stafford as my 2 quarterback though. I would have had Lawrence and then Stafford 3.
Wait. I'm confused. So you picked Stafford, but you would have.
No, he picked May.
I'm saying you.
Oh, so you went Lawrence over Stafford.
That's what I'm saying. Yes.
Okay. I'm interested in this. Why?
Okay. So here I'm gonna. Sorry, I didn't have my notes up. But essentially, where it came down to is that he kind of no, don't even think about it, Pringles. He basically said, at the end of the season, had a situation I thought where he kind of had the Josh Allen type thing happen, which was he also cost them too many games, I think.
That's completely fair. That's completely fair. Yeah.
And I think Trevor Lawrence, just like, for example, coming into this season, we expected the Bills and that offense to be good and be a playoff team. And we could tell you, the good players that they had on that team. We could tell you the really good players that we liked on the Rams team. What did we think that we came into the season, or even halfway through the season? What did we like about Jacksonville? We all were out on Jacksonville at different points, and we still don't know. We still don't know if we love Liam Cohen as a coach. No, don't even think about it. So with that in mind, okay, that's fair. That's fair. I guess.
Anyway.
I guess when I said we, I guess I sort of said the consensus. I guess.
Yeah.
Well, going into the year
We
with
didn't know
Cohen,
about
we
it.
thought it was a bad hire.
Right.
And that ended up being
at
completely
the
wrong.
time.
Yeah. So I'm just again going back to that. If you're harping specifically, which I do, if you're harping specifically on the value portion of it, I would add that just because I think Stafford also reduced at times. I think he also was part of the. I don't want to say part of the problem, but he also I think contributed a lot of negative value himself, and I think that the net positive negative. I think that delta ends up more in Lawrence's favor at the overall.
Oh my God, I got something to give out, and I didn't realize I have it. 1 second.
Ooh, giddy up.
Oh Jesus! this is. Oh,
Well,
boy.
we got through the MVP conversation, and I'm still on the show, so there's that. That's a good sign.
We took a while on this already, though. That's all right. We'll get through the rest of them.
I mean, yeah, that was entirely my fault. My tech was I mean, it was partly your fault, but that's beside the point.
What? What are you guys talking about?
I made a joke. I said, "Well, we got through MVP conversation, and I wasn't put off the show, so that's a start." And then Brandon made a comment about the tech issues, and I said that's mostly my fault. And I said it's partly your fault, and I was pointing at the cat.
It's partly the cat's fault. No. I was scared that if you said like Bryce Young or something, then yeah, you would have been laughed off. But that was my concern. I thought you were going to say something really random. When you said Jordan Love, I was like, that's absolutely correct. All right.
I think Bryce Young could have had a case for like comeback of the year or something like that. But
yeah. I've had this in my room forever, so I don't know why I didn't decide to put the. They win the coveted pillow football. There you go.
Oh Jesus!
The pillow football. So there you go.
I wouldn't recommend using that while they measure your hand size at the combine.
That is very true. We're going to give out the pillow football to both Drake May and Matthew Stafford. We're going to give.
It's funny.
them
We were split right down the middle. Rob and I
Yep.
said Stafford, and you two said May. So yeah, that.
So we're going to give them codes, and I'm comfortable giving them codes because they both deserve a lot of love for what they did.
I think now that they each went 2 for 2, or they each went 2 and 2 in this show, I think that giving them the split only makes sense now.
Yeah.
Yep. So there we go. And you know what? Sure, we'll give out split awards if we go split. Why not? So you guys both win the pillow football. Congratulations.
Okay, and can we follow this up immediately with Outstanding Player of the Year?
Yeah, that was exactly my plan.
Yeah.
So Shane,
Okay.
please explain the antithesis of this award because this is done in the Canadian Football League and it's amazing. Why do you love this award?
Okay, because by definition, outstanding and most valuable are two different things.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Most valuable is the guy that quite literally brings the most value to your team, which 9.5 times out of 10 is a quarterback. So to me, that's kind of like, like that's not boring, but so
More predictable.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. It doesn't acknowledge other people in the league.
Yeah. MVP is the best quarterback award.
Yes.
Now it is
That's
at
why.
least, yeah.
That's why I like most outstanding as well, because it can still be a quarterback, but it's just it's not the guy that gave his team the biggest edge. It's just the guy who I looked at and was like, wow, that was amazing.
Yeah.
And the reason I wanted to follow it up right after that is because my most outstanding player of the year this year happens to be Matthew Stafford.
And you know what's funny?
We gave him an MVP anyway.
And guess what? I'm flipping it because my outstanding player, Drake May.
Yeah. Right.
So
I mean, that's, and that's like, and to me, that's just because, and the reason I have it in that order and not vice versa is because, Stafford obviously had a lot more to work with, and he'd been, this is his fifth year in McVay's system, and the same receiver, well, other than Devontae, but the same skill guys, so And then, but I mean, he played lights out, and it was like, oh, that's great. But yeah, so that's
Wait, Rob,
there you
Rob.
go.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Rob.
Yeah.
I don't see most outstanding player on the sheet that you gave us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because I wanted it to be a surprise, and I accidentally
Oh.
forgot it. So that's why.
Oh, my apologies.
Yes. I just remembered it like 10 minutes before the show. So I was like, I'm not even going to put it on the sheet. I'm going to surprise you guys.
My apologies.
So who are you taking, Scoop, for most outstanding?
In that case, can I go last? Because I'm bugging now.
Okay. I wanted to give this to Puka, but I didn't love his off the field stuff. I'm not going to give this to a quarterback. I'm not going to give this to McCaffrey because I have him for another award.
Ooh.
I'm going to give this to Nick Bonito, linebacker, Denver Broncos.
I kind of like that.
Because he to me, if this guy who we're all going to take for Defensive Player of the Year, it's obvious because of what he did this year. If he didn't exist, Bonito would have won the award, and I think he deserves. And I think he deserves a lot of recognition because he's one of these guys in Denver who has always been amazing, and because nobody watches Denver except us, I'm being honest.
Yeah, really
nobody watches Denver, and so
that's crazy.
And nobody watches Denver, and nobody watches the guy who I'm like, who is my favorite player in the NFL this year, who I picked for best special teamer. And so, like, nobody, like, Denver's defense as a unit is amazing, but specific people, we just forget about them, and Nick Bonito is one of them. So for me, again, I'm gonna take McCaffrey for different awards. I already gave Coe to both of Stafford and May. I'm gonna leave that alone. I'm not gonna do Allen or Lawrence. I wanted to give this to Puka, but the off the field stuff rubbed me really the wrong way this year, and that I have to take that into some level of consideration. So Nick Bonito for me, linebacker, Denver Broncos.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Scoop. What do you have for most outstanding?
Brandon hadn't gone yet, has he?
No, I piggyback off of Shane. I said I flipped it also that he had May and then Stafford. I had Stafford and then May.
Oh, my apologies.
And then I went left field, Nick Bonito.
Okay, my apologies then. Oh God. You know what? I'm going to give love to a defensive player just because I feel like they don't get enough love with these awards. Similarly with Rob, I'm not going to go with somebody who already got love from me for another one. But I'm going to go with somebody who I think got snubbed in the Pro Bowl discussion, and somebody that I know we've spoken about quite a bit. You can call me a homer about this. I don't really care. He deserves the conversation. And we just talked about linebackers. Put me down for Mr. Zach Bond.
Totally fine. Totally fine. Honestly, I'm totally fine with it because he should have gotten All Pro. I'm fine with this. I'm more than fine with this, right, Shane? This is a good call.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I also had about 90 seconds to prepare for it. So
no.
Yeah,
but I think it's a good call. I really do.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would have gone most outstanding player for him this year. Definitely last year. I think he was probably in the top 3.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't hate it.
I don't hate it either. It's fine. Defensive Player of the Year. If anyone else picks anyone other than Myles Garrett,
Sean
you'd be kind of nuts. The other nominees: Will Anderson, Nick Bonito, who I picked, Aiden Hutchinson, and Micah Parsons. But it's Myles Garrett right across the board.
Yeah. You know how I talked about how I was concerned about the first time I was going to be the dissenting a-hole?
Are you kidding me? How do you not?
Yeah, it's not here. Myles Garrett all the way.
Good.
Okay, good.
Thank God you were scaring me.
I kind of figured the swerve was coming from you on that one.
Yeah,
all
Well,
right.
you've been on a show with me every week for almost a year. You know my
Because I'm
tendencies.
listen, I know Scoop is bad at these things sometimes.
Whoa!
I'm like, there's no physical way you can pick anyone other than Myles Garrett. There's no way.
I saw Myles Garrett live like a month and a half
Yeah.
ago. Yeah, so
And by the way, it is incredibly disgraceful that he's another guy that we can mention that is disgraceful that's not in the MVP conversation.
Yeah.
Massively disgraceful.
Yep.
Offensive Play of the Year. This is a great nominees list. Drake May, Christian McCaffrey, Puka Nacua, Bijan Robinson, and the aforementioned JSN, who I was debating for most outstanding, but I swerved there as well. Shane, would you like to go first for AP Offensive Player of the Year?
Yeah, and I only have. I told you guys in the chat I only voted for one Seahawk, and it's not JSN.
Stop swerving. Why are we doing this now?
Well, Scoop did it and it looked fun, so I wanted to join.
I know exactly who it is, though. I know exactly who you're taking for the Seahawk now. I know exactly who it is. Yes.
There's a few options. I
know exactly who it is because it's the same one I'm doing. Anyway, who are you taking for offensive player?
I'm taking Puka Nacua. Here's the thing. Off the field stuff, like you were saying, yeah, it drives me crazy. But this isn't an off the field award. This is this is not an off the field award. It's what you do on the field.
I take that stuff into consideration. I do.
I mean, for MVP or something, sure, or a most outstanding player, yeah. But just for offensive player, yeah. I mean, I care about it, but like for the sake of awards, it's like, well. Anyways, yeah. So, I look. Puka, I think, to me was more impressive. I mean, because not only did he miss a game, but he still had 10 more catches than JSN. More yards per game, and this was with Devontae and all their arsenal of tight ends also getting a lot of targets. Yeah, he was still doing that and absolutely shredding people. Dude completely destroyed Seattle, which is a top 5 defense, and he did it twice. It's insane, really. So,
PTP TCA or I keep messing this up like Scoop. PGP TCA talked about Puka, and he's like, what off the field stuff and everything. Look, I don't care that he got
he's
tricked.
Just annoying.
I don't care that he got tricked into doing it, that he didn't know what he was doing. Be smarter. Like, don't let some random live streamer. He's not random. He's the most famous live streamer in the world. I get it. But
Puka knows he's a streamer. Like, come on, man. He's gonna get you to do something stupid.
And on top of it, why are you letting him into the building in one of your most important weeks of the season? You can't do that.
Can you explain what he did for the viewer briefly?
I will not. I will not, because it's really disturbing. I will not.
Okay.
I will not.
Well, can we just say that? Can we just say that the term that it's anti?
It's anti-Semitism.
There you go.
Yeah, it's massively anti-Semitic. But again, regardless of the anti-Semitism stuff, because again, he was tricked into doing it. I understand, but you can't let a streamer into the building on one of your most important weeks of the season. I take that stuff into account very heavily. That's fair. You can't do that. But again, Shane still took Puka. That's fair. That's fine. Scoop, I'll let you go here next.
Okay, just give me I just needed a few seconds for this. First off, I want to say I did also take Puka, but I also want to add this. Another thing that I think it's undersold sometimes about playing wide receiver in some offenses is the run blocking element of it. He was one of the top run blocking receivers this year, which did play a role in the ability of guys that aspect of their game to be so successful. So that's another reason why I took this as well, was because he was up there with Amon-Ra in terms of top run blocking receivers in the NFL this year. On that front, I think it also deserves to be recognized. So that was another reason why I took Puka Nacua.
Brandon.
Yeah, I'm gonna make you Seahawks fans happy. It's JSN for me. And listen, I went back and forth between both of them, but to me, JSN. Well, what it really just came down to for me for JSN was, I mean, more yards per reception. Puka was 13.3, and JSN was almost 2 more yards above that, 15.1. So just home run ability. I mean, both of them are just insane athletes, but to me, what it came down to was pretty much just who was throwing him the ball. Sam Darnold, while he's had a great last year and a half, 2 years, Sam Darnold is nowhere near Matt Stafford. And, Sam Darnold's, not, doesn't throw the most accurate ball in the world. To me, it just came down to who was throwing the ball. And Puka, I expect this out of Puka. It's the Rams, it's Sean McVay. They know how to get, he knows how to scheme him open, knows how to get those guys open. Stafford knows when to find them. Darnold came into this team, not knowing anybody. And then, having JSN there, who was great last year, and it took an even bigger leap this year. And I mean, listen, 10 less catches, but more yards than Puka. So, to me, more damage. And hey, one team's in a Super Bowl, one team is not. And that's mostly because of JSN's play. So, yeah. At least to me, besides the defense being really good, but still, JSN offensively is a unit. So, for me, it was JSN.
Yeah, and look, we're not taking playoffs into account for these awards.
I'm just saying
because we're not allowed to, because in normal circumstances we would turn in these awards before the playoffs. But you could still say it, obviously, in your spiel. For the same reasons, JSN. I love this catch radius this year, in particular. That was the most fun for me with him. And you saw a lot of that similar catch radius with Darnold and Justin Jefferson last season. So to see, because Darnold, as great as he is throwing the ball, he demands a lot of his receivers when catching the football. And so JSN for me, we are giving away Coes once again for offensive, and obviously Myles Garrett for the defensive side. Offensive Rookie of the Year, I will start Tetero McMillan, Carolina Panthers.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yep. Carolina, yep, so there's 2. This one...
Man, me too.
So there's 3. Okay, Scoop said no to that. And let me be real here.
He was my second one, though.
Okay, let me be real here. This nomination list is very good as well. Jackson Dart, Emeka Ibuka, Henderson, and Tyler Slough, or you could consider, or Tyler Shaw, that's how you say his name. I think, whatever. His name's hard to say. Shuck, there it is. It's Shuck.
Shuck,
Jesus,
yeah.
It's Shuck. Whatever.
Oh,
and you know what? I was debating taking him as well.
So was I.
But it's because he had an incredible second half. But Tetera for game 1 to me was the winner.
Yep.
Scoop, why would you zag there? Who did you take?
For what it's worth, I did take Tyler Shuck.
Totally fine. Totally fine.
Yeah, I'm fine
totally
with that.
fine. Totally fine. Why did you take Shuck though? Go from there.
He actually, it's interesting because when you put it, I mean, again, when I've been comparing different nominees, I've typically am putting most of the comparison against other guys in the category playing their same position. I think that's obviously the most fair way to do it. Putting him juxtaposed with Jackson Dart, they have virtually identical average depths of targets. They were taking virtually identical types of risk, if you want to call it that. They also, in terms of big time throws versus turnover worthy plays, their ratios were virtually identical, but he also committed 0 penalties. Dart committed 9, which led rookie quarterbacks. I think not committing a single penalty, even if you're not playing all 17 games, I think that's worth a lot of value. because the phrase "rookie mistakes" exists for a reason. He wasn't making those already, and I think that especially in an offense that's still let's say in its infancy, to be nice, which is not something I usually try and do on this show, is something I think is definitely worth value. So I did have to go Tyler Shuck there.
And I'm completely fine with it because, as we all said, he had a great second half. He's definitely the future of the New Orleans Saints. He deserves some consideration. We'll give the ball to Tetero, but great shout out to Tyler as well, and well deserved. Yeah. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Abdul Carter, Seattle Seahawks own Nick Momori, James Pierce Jr., Carson Schwarzenegger, and Xavier Watts. Scoop, did you take your fellow Cleveland Brown?
Yeah, I had to go with Schwarzenegger here. Again, I'll fully acknowledge that having seen him in person and seen his impact in person may have some influence there, but this guy's a dog. This guy's an absolute dog, and I think he's going to be feasting for a while. What's that thing that Brandon likes to say? Hungry dogs eat faster, or
run faster.
Excuse me.
Run faster.
That was a Jeff Stoutland quote years ago.
Yeah. And again, I think that, and also Abdul Carter had some issues off the field.
Yeah.
Right. So with missing practices and not being on time, and so no.
It's again, there's a limit to how much these awards to me are affected by off-field conduct. That I think is directly reflective of your conduct as a rookie player in the NFL. And then again, due respect to Emmett Ward, he obviously is part of the reason why the Seahawks got as far as they did. But like y'all said, this is a regular season award. And again, I think Schwarzenegger, no disrespect to any of the other three guys, I just think Schwarzenegger has reached another level for me already in his career.
Mm-hmm. I also took Swess. I'm going to ask you, Scoop, just for people who have not watched the Browns much this season, not that you needed to, unfortunately. Can you go over or look up some of his statistics for us just to see how good he was this year? Because he was incredible across the board.
Yeah, I looked at it last night. It's stupid.
I put them in my notes because I probably took more notes here than I did studying for my high school finals.
Good.
But
good.
But he did end the season. He did end the season on with an injury, unfortunately. So there is that, but. He had the two defensive interceptions. He had 156 combined tackles, 11 tackles for loss, 9 QB hits. And I could go into advanced metrics all night long to watch Shane's head spin. But he only had a missed tackle rate of 6%. And 56 blitzes. It just 9 pressures. They're just. It doesn't matter what you look at. I mean, obviously his press coverage or pass coverage could improve, but again, there's no rookie who's going to do absolutely everything great. And he also played a third of the snaps on special teams as well. But again, guy's an absolute dog. I think if Myles Garrett doesn't get completely pissed off and push his way out of town, I think that Garrett, Mason Graham, their first round pick. I think that's a defense that, I mean, I said it multiple times on this show this year. Cleveland had even a slightly below average quarterback play this year. Cleveland's in the playoffs, and I think winning multiple playoff games.
Yeah.
That's not a bad thought. Brandon, I assume with what you said, you also took Swess.
Yep, 3 for 3. Yeah.
3 for 3 on Swess.
Yep.
Shane.
Crap,
you took a Seahawk.
Go ahead, the center.
Yeah. No, I think it's even worry, and to be honest, I don't think it's even. I don't think it's even close. I'll be real with you.
Now that's fighting.
Wow, that's fighting. That's not good.
Here's the thing. I watched plenty of Swess. I'll just call him that because his real name is ridiculous.
It's Schwarzenegger. I just shortened it to Swess.
Yeah. So here's the thing. He had a lot of tackles. And that's great, but so much. And I watched a lot of him just because I was hearing a lot about him, and obviously Myles Garrett and everything. Majority of his plays, it was like 6-yard run, gets through the line, and then he just happens to be standing there and make the tackle. Or 4-yard check down, and then he just makes the tackle. And just like, which is good, but it's very reactive. What Eamon Wari does, he was disrupting. Like, he was blowing up plays before they were even happening. He was flying downhill, erasing screens and flats, forcing turnovers constantly, setting the tone physically. It's like, it wasn't a case of like, it's not just, oh, he's making tackles. It's like, no, he's killing drives. And, it doesn't show up on the stat sheet, but when I see it on film, to me, it has a much greater impact than Swiss. So to me, he was, in my opinion, it was easily Eamon Wari. But
I think you make a fair argument, right, guys? I think he makes a fair argument.
He did.
Yes.
Can I just make one response though?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned killing drives. Schwetzinger was 8th this year at defensive drive stops as a rookie. So I do think that goes for something as well.
Oh yeah, and I mean, Swiss is definitely not bad. Like, I think he's, he'll be probably one of the better middle linebackers for the next, 8, 9, 10 years. But yeah, so.
No,
anyways.
I think you make fair points though.
Shane just made the same point I made last year for Quinyon Mitchell.
Yeah,
which is funny because Quinyon was somebody because Q was somebody I was thinking about a few minutes ago when we did that most outstanding player. I just ended up going with Bourne because I was still so pissed about him.
Yeah,
I think
totally fine.
to sum it up, it's like Swiss he had more volume, but like Eamon Wari, I felt like his impact was higher. So. I don't know. But yeah.
All right, well, the ball goes to Swiss, but Eamon Wari deserves acknowledgement as well. Here's where I'm going to...
He gets
get some stuffing from the inside.
Yes. Gets the... Is this called stuffing what's in pillows? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
They have depends on what they have, because some of them have the bird leaves in them.
Yeah, I have no idea. Okay. AP Comeback Player of the Year. I hate this award. I really hate it. Because I'm going to zag and I'm going to piss every single one of you off. More than I thought Scoop was going to.
Wait, what award? What award are you going to now?
Comeback Player of the Year.
I'm going to piss people off too.
I hate this award. I think the changes that they made to it, saying it's only injured players, is so
I
stupid.
don't like that. Yeah.
I hate it. It makes these nominations not great. I think this is never, ever. I could be wrong. But I think this is never, ever, ever. There you go. I said it 4 times. Going to happen again for the rest of our lives. A quarterback who's 44 years old who says, hey, I'm coming back, and I'm going to play good football. Not amazing, not incredible, not great, good football.
I don't hate it. I was surprised he wasn't a nominee.
Yeah.
He can't be, because he can't be a nominee. He can't be a nominee because the rules are injured players. He can't be a nominee. He's not allowed. That's part of why I hate this.
What geriatricism isn't an injury?
I disagree though. I think we're going to see that a lot more.
So
going forward.
So Phillip Rivers, Indianapolis Colts. So tell me why you think you're going to see it more.
Well, I mean, for starters, it's pretty standard now for quarterbacks to play into their 40s, and as systems, because offensive playbooks and systems now are so complicated, and at least in the current era of the NFL, you don't need, like, most coaches would rather have, a Phillip Rivers or like, a 45-year-old Drew Brees if he could throw, or, whatever, or Brady even, or so, over some backup or a younger guy who's, he's got great athleticism, but he's, so I feel like we're going to see this more often than not, honestly. And even if it's not 44,
I don't hate the thought.
just like a guy in his 40s.
Excuse me.
But
Yeah, I apologize for interrupting, but I don't hate the thought. Like guys in his 40s
Yeah, no.
understanding the system. But don't you think that Rivers having the same system with this high school team that he had with the Colts is also part of it? That it just made the transition even easier than normal?
Yeah. And well, yeah, and which, yeah, because he was also with Steichen in with the Chargers, so there's that familiarity there too. But yeah, regardless of the parameters of the award, I don't think Phillip Rivers deserves to even sniff a nomination for this award. Because I mean, yeah, he came back after 5 years, but like the dude only played 3 games, lost all 3, and I think he played pretty shit, to be honest.
I thought he played good. Funny enough,
and it's like did nothing to move the needle at all for the team.
He played good enough, I think, to win those games. It's just that his defense couldn't stop shit.
I mean, like I guess I don't. Yeah,
no, it wasn't great, but what do you expect from a guy that's coming off the couch after 5 years?
Right. It's like come back from what, like having more kids, like I don't know.
Oh my god!
And then he turns around and tries to do, and then he turns around and tries to be the Bills head coach, and then
which was amazing.
But then he decides not to like continue. Like the only thing he's ever pulled out of in his life. But I just
oh my god! You know what? I don't Scoop. This is the one kind of other than the head coaching award that I have to ask you. Did you also see from sources that he interviewed well? Because I saw a ton of sources that he interviewed well.
That doesn't surprise me.
Oh yeah. I genuinely, I think the job would have gone. I think the job was going to go to him, and I think that's why they pivoted quickly and got Brady afterward. I think that he was going to be the Bills head coach if he wanted the job.
Wow, that's crazy. Okay, Scoop. Let's see. What do you have for comeback player of the year that isn't on the nominations?
I don't mean to annoy you guys, but can I do the player A versus player B thing very quickly?
Oh, please do.
Okay, so we got player A versus player B. Completions 410 versus 404. Attempts 590 versus 600. Touchdowns 36 versus 30. Interceptions 9 versus 10. First downs 222 to 220. I'm almost done. Yards per game, 266 to 268. And the last one was net yards per attempt, 6.77 to 6.88. And I'll throw in game-winning drives, 3 versus 3. Player A was Dak Prescott in 2023 before his injury. Player B was Dak Prescott in 2025 after his injury. The guy did not lose a step at all.
But he's on the nominations list. I thought you were going to pick someone who wasn't on the nominations list.
Not for this award, no.
Okay, totally fine. Yeah,
and my point is like, so he got to the infamous wrong side of 30. He missed a big chunk of last year, and again, let's keep this in mind as well. We still didn't know what to make of Brian Schottenheimer, really, or so we thought. So you put all those things together, and I got to give. I personally, I think it's funny. I think Dak is either extremely overrated or sometimes somewhat underrated. I never feel like he was appropriately rated. I think that people either love him too much or hate him too much. But yeah, Dak Prescott's my comeback player of the year.
So here's my issue with that. And again, this also contradicts what we say with QB wins, but like this
before you say
that's deliberately why I didn't say that stat.
Before you say that though, I'm with Scoop.
Really? Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, sure.
Interesting. Wow. Okay. Continue.
And I can tell you why if you want.
Yes, please.
I can always listen to you talk quarterbacks.
Oh, thanks, man.
By the way, we're doing. I know we're doing really good on time, so don't worry. We're doing great. So go.
Excellent.
Surprised.
Yeah. I mean, it's like when you look at Dak. I mean, he came back from that injury and it comes back to a worse offensive line and run game, a rookie head coach, an awful defense, and not only, I mean, basically had one of the best seasons of his career. Granted, they didn't win a lot, but I don't think it's really his fault because, I mean, the Dallas defense was on ice skates the whole year. So
yeah, just putting it lightly.
Yeah. So I mean, as for Dak himself, to do all that when coming back from an injury, like Scoop said, he didn't miss a step. So, and he pretty much carried this team. So, yeah, I think it's clearly him personally, but
I don't think wins is a QB stat, but for individual awards, it does matter to me, and that's why I took, and that's why again, reluctantly, I took CMC. I would have taken Rivers if he was available. I took CMC, just the most productive all around. Brandon, I imagine you did the same.
I don't hate that.
Yeah, we're splitting again, boys. I took CMC also, and also because CMC should have won this award.
Co-awards, baby, co-awards.
CMC should have won this award twice already, and he hasn't won it once, which is blasphemy.
Yeah.
Okay, Stephen A. Smith.
And the thing is, CMC played 4 games last year. Obviously, we know he didn't play at all, got hurt. We questioned if he'd ever be the CMC that we thought he was, previously again because of how bad his legs were, and just how much what he had left in the tank. And he almost had 2,000. I don't know. He had over 2,000 yards from scrimmage this year. Had the most touches from scrimmage this year. So and played all 17 games. So. Clearly, he's fine. So, to me, it was like a no-brainer. And the thing is, he did this in an offense where the offensive line sucks. Everybody was injured. Even the defense was. It was that entire San Francisco 49ers team this year was just CMC. So
yeah,
plus they also had like a 13th ranked offensive line.
Yeah, it wasn't great. The thing is, like everybody overrates their offensive line. Their offensive line's never been like top 10.
No,
so,
it's because they have Trent Williams, so they make everyone else look better.
Yeah, and he's like a top 5 offensive line, but everybody else is like 20, somewhere in the 20s, 30s, what have you. So it's like,
yeah.
CMC was easy for me.
I'm sorry if I keep bumping the mic to show off the award, but I'm glad I came up with this. This is fun. But this is also the reason I'm going to skip ahead. This is also the reason Scoop, Brandon, and myself, because I know Shane isn't that big of a fantasy guy. That's why we took him for fantasy MVP in our fantasy article for the exact same reasons. Because the people who believed in him, like myself in one of our leagues that we did, won massively. He's like the reason we won in all of our leagues for all the things that you said. So just going to quickly say that. Here's a really fun one because this is one of the I think at least in my lifetime this is the best AP Coach of the Year nominations list we've had.
Yeah. This is the one I had the hardest time with.
Yeah,
oh my god, this was brutal. This was brutal. Liam Cohen, Jacksonville Jaguars, Ben Johnson, Chicago Bears, Mike McDonald, Seattle Seahawks, Kyle Shanahan, 49ers, and Mike Rabel of the New England Patriots. We all had a brutal time with it because this is the first time I've ever seen this with this nominations list that everyone on this list deserves some love for what they did.
Yep.
Every single one for different reasons. Shanahan with the injuries, Johnson basically rebuilding that entire team from the ground up, Rabel doing the same thing, McDonald especially defensively, Liam Cohen coming out of nowhere. But Scoop, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'll be honest, I actually changed back and forth on this a couple times because I do think that there are several very deserving options on here. And I ended up coming down to a split between 2 people, one of whom being Liam Cohen. We just talked about the Jaguars a little while ago. And the other one being Mike McDonald of Seattle Seahawks, obviously now in the Super Bowl. That being said, I do want to acknowledge, I do understand this was a regular season award, but I also had them as a Super Bowl favorite in my award or in my power rankings toward the end of so I also was looking at it through that lens as well. And I kept kicking it back and forth a little bit. I honestly, even between those two, I think you could have also picked Ben Johnson because he made Caleb Williams look like a decent quarterback for most of the season. Mm-hmm. And I mean, even as I sit here right now, I'm talking myself into and out of different things.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly.
But the guy that I have in bold here, so I'm just going to stick with it because it's who I had then. And then, they always say go with your first gut instinct. So I am going to go with Mike McDonald from the Seahawks. I think that he was, excuse me, sorry. I think that he was the guy and the head coach who I think showed not just has had his team at the best this year, but I think that I think throughout the year we felt the least volatility from them. I think of the times that we fell out on every team, 57 times, we fell out on them the least. And I think that that's, a solid indication because unlike, us never really knowing until very late if we did become convinced of it at all, if Liam Cohen was a good coach. I don't think many of us ever really questioned it that much with Mike McDonald. And I think that he just did a lot of things this year that, and again, it's also like for Sam Darnold to have that improvement with a defensive head coach. It's one thing to have it with an offensive head coach. With a defensive head coach, I think that's additionally impressive. So I want to, because he had people like myself who didn't know if that was going to fall apart or be built on with his success after Minnesota. Definitely, at least some role McDonald had in that. So I did end up going with Mike McDonald.
Brandon.
Yeah, I spent the whole year trashing this team because I said they weren't for real and they were fraudulent. But I also went with a team that and with a coach that if it wasn't for him, they'd be nowhere near as good as what they were. And I went with Ben Johnson. Now my two picks when I was going back and forth was him and Vrabel. But and because everybody knows how much I gush over Mike Vrabel, but Ben Johnson, I just took basically when you look at the quarterbacks on each of these teams, Caleb Williams is the worst of the five. So it's but they gave what they did this year with kind of retooling the offense, getting it more to what they playing more to Caleb Williams' strengths more than his weaknesses, and Ben Johnson just being a mastermind of scheming things up. I think without that they would be nowhere near the playoffs. Caleb Williams would have struggled like he did last season. He didn't take a massive jump from where he was last season, but took a big enough jump to where that's what kind of got them over the hump. And I just think that we even said I think I don't know if I was the first one to say it, but I know I was one of the first few people to say that Ben Johnson was going to go to the Bears before he even went there. We all kind of knew that that's where he was going, like because Ben Johnson was the perfect fit there. So to me, it was all the way. It's always been Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson, just I mean, look at what Swift and Monangai did in that backfield. He got a lot out of and the thing is the receivers weren't great this year. I mean, Adunze wasn't great. DJ Moore was hurt, not great. Really, it was just tight ends. It was Cole Kmet and Colston Loveland. And for some reason, the defense just left those guys open pretty much every other play. Ben Johnson turned that around because I think if any other coach was there, I think that much like Vrabel too in New England, but if any other coach was there, the Bears wouldn't even be where they were. The Bears would have won probably 3 games this year.
Yeah.
So, Ben Johnson.
Yeah. All right, Shane.
Yeah, I've flipped all around between all 5 of these guys.
It's exactly
I think we all did at some point.
Yeah,
I think we all did
a little bit. Yeah.
But then, I for a while I was going to go with Kyle Shanahan because I was so impressed with how well that team did despite losing most of their, really good players last year. And then on top of it, having all these millions of injuries this year.
Mm-hmm.
But then I remembered, I was like, well, part of the reason there are so many injuries is because Shanahan, his scheme
overworks them.
And I was like, so anyways, and plus they had Robert Saleh as DC, who
Yep.
in my opinion is a top 5 defensive mind in the game right now.
Yep.
So
I'm
that
sure-
helps.
I'm going to go out on a limb and I say I'm willing to bet at least one person voted for him for a future award on this show.
What do you mean for Shanahan?
No, Salah.
Salah.
For Saleh, yeah, absolutely, someone's probably going to. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, so that being said, I just I'm looking at these guys and it's like, well, who in my opinion had the worst roster yet did the most with them, and not only that, but also like turned it around the most. I mean, Mike McDonald, love what he's doing, but they did win 10 games last year. The roster was already pretty good to begin with, so it wasn't like I'm not like, wow, look at this. It's like, no, I mean,
not going to be a homer for your own team. So.
Yeah. Ben Johnson, pretty impressive, like you were saying, Brandon. Although, I feel like they kind of got lucky in a lot of their wins, and I'm like,
No, they did,
but doesn't take away from what he did.
Yeah.
Vrabel comes back with Mike McDaniels, so it's that's already an established culture and coaching philosophy between them. But Liam Cohen, dude. I mean, this has been the dumpster fire laughing stock of the league for decades, and within a season with nothing, wins 13 games. Embarrasses the number 1 seed Denver. And yeah, I know the playoff thing didn't go well for him this year, but this isn't about playoffs. So
you see how much Jaguars love we've been giving them tonight. Do you see why I picked them to go all the way originally?
Yeah.
So I mean, I just think what he did was so impressive, because he took. I mean, Lawrence was finally starting to look like, the number 1 pick. Not fully, but starting to. So, to me, it's Cohen. Which if you told me that at the beginning of the year when I was making fun of him for looking like Rudolph's dentist, I would have said you were crazy. But here we are, times change. So I will happily eat my words on that.
For me, it's Liam Cohen, but it's not for the reason Shane said. It's for what happened in the offseason to get Liam Cohen, because it was awful. That's
a good point.
Jacksonville's only options left by that point was Pete. Basically, it was just Pete Carroll. Liam Cohen had to get out. Unfortunately, he burned a lot of bridges. He had to get out of that Tampa Bay contract, the biggest contract ever for an offensive coordinator. He was making head coach money as an offensive coordinator to go to a dumpster fire in Jacksonville. That decision was questionable at its own core.
I'll be right back, fellas. I'm sorry.
No worries. But that decision already I thought was dumb, because Tampa Bay was a better roster, a better situation. Was it actually? No. Because Jacksonville did what they did, and they were good.
Yeah.
And Tampa suffered in the process.
And Tampa massively suffered in the process. So, yeah, and again, he burned a lot of bridges leaving, and that sucks, and that deserves some frustration. But again, it's not. But again, like, that's part of coaching. You go to the better job. The best job you can possibly get is being a head coach, and so that's what he did. And so that's why I took Liam Cohen, because I knew Ben Johnson was going to be great in Chicago. I knew Mike McDonald was going to be great in Seattle after the first year. I knew about Shanahan. I knew about Vrabel. We talked about it. I knew about all of them. Cohen, I was like, nah, no way. It worked out. We go from
And-
one of the
and that's
Go-
and,
finish
and
up.
that's the crazy thing. I love what you said. It's like, why is he leaving a good situation and going? In hindsight, as we look back in this year, the good situation was him.
was
Yeah.
Jacksonville. The good situation wasn't
No.
being the highest
No,
paid
just
off.
him.
The good situation was Liam.
I got it. Yes. I see what
Tampa
you're saying.
Because
Screwed
Tampa
up
looks like crap now. Yeah.
by letting the true genius out the door.
Right.
So-
And go to Jacksonville. We go
Yeah.
from one of the best coach of the year nominations in our lifetime to one of the worst assistant coach of the years lists I've ever seen. Minus 3 people. Vic Fangio, Josh McDaniels, and Clint Kubiak 100% deserve to be here. Brian Flores and Vance Joseph do not
Hell
deserve
no.
to be here under any circumstance, but they are here. With that being said, this is not a homer thing. I went Clint Kubiak, Seattle Seahawks,
So did I.
because of specifically what he did with Sam Darnold.
Yep.
I
that's exactly
think it's
why.
more impressive than anything else here because I saw so much talent with Drake May. We
Yep.
love Fangio on this show, rightfully so.
Yeah.
And again, so yeah, Kubiak for me. Brandon agrees with the same thing I said. Scoop, did you take your fellow Eagle?
I was tempted at the last second to pivot to Vic Fangio, especially on rumors that he might retire. I am going to stick with my original gut, which was Clint Kubiak.
There we go, 3 for 3.
I'm also going to take this opportunity to take 10 seconds. I know you said we weren't going to discuss this on the show, but I'm going to sneak an opportunity in here to do so. I still believe that Brian Flores is one of the reasons why Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah lost his job, and I think that that's ridiculous.
You know what? I'm glad you brought that up because I
Yep.
think that also hurts his chances for this award. So you know what? Bringing it up was smart in this instance, 100%. Shane, did you also take the fellow Seahawk?
I did not.
Oh my god!
I knew that he wasn't because he said I only have one Seahawk left, and he took
I just realized that as well,
Yeah.
and he used it on M and Wari.
like I get it, but I'm like, if you're a fan of your team, you're going to the damn Super Bowl. I mean, I know the regular season work, but come on, man. Like,
I hope to God it's Fangio then, because I have no idea who else it would be.
No, Josh McDaniels.
It would have to be
Yeah,
McDaniels.
McDaniels.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and rightfully, and that's a good choice.
Because
Go
I
on,
think,
McDaniels.
well, just because I think he did. I think he did so much more with a lot less than Kubiak. You know,
That's fair.
I mean,
That's fair.
turning Drake May into an MVP frontrunner, and when they had a much worse offensive line, much worse weapons, worse running backs than Seattle. I mean, to me, that's
I guess it also. I guess for me, it
I'm
also
like,
depends on. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize you were. I'm sorry.
No, I'm done. Go ahead.
I was just fixing to say. I guess it also depends how much you're gonna attribute Clint Kubiak's Jackson Smith and Jigba's taking the next step this year to Clint Kubiak versus other factors.
well,
True.
you know what I did when why I didn't pick Josh McDaniels, and I was considering it by why I ultimately went with Kubiak. I didn't pick McDaniels because I know this is a this year award, but I just thought back, I'm like, Josh McDaniels is a mainstay in New England. His scheme and things like that don't change.
I think that's one of the reasons why I didn't pick him. I think it's just because he's been there for 20
Yeah.
some odd years.
Yeah.
So I'm just so I
Which
think I'm
is
just
fair.
I don't like having voter fatigue and saying, well, he already has this many awards or whatever. But for me,
Yeah.
it was just like, I don't know, like I know what he can and can't do versus, oh, I'm seeing this from Clint Kubiak and it's something that I didn't realize he had in his back pocket.
Yeah, like Kubiak to me, the offense took a massive step up, whereas Josh McDaniels, it's just
And similarly, I don't know how much of that to attribute to him versus Drake May.
yeah.
Yeah. Kubiak will expectedly, in air quotes, as I'm fidgeting again, expectedly will be the head coach of the Raiders. Will we see him on our award list when we do our best head coaching hire? We'll
Good
see.
luck.
I don't think so, but we'll see. Okay. I normally
never
don't
know.
talk about. I normally don't talk about this award, but we need to start talking about this award because this award deserves a lot more love than it gets on regular NFL shows. So we're going to do
Agreed.
it. And the person I'm going to let talk about this award is, excuse me, Brandon and Scoop, but there's only one person that should be allowed to talk about this award, and it's Shane. John Snyder, General Manager and President of Football Operations for the Seattle Seahawks, was named the NFL Executive of the Year. So Snyder being Executive of the Year.
Oh, I was going to say, why am I talking about this?
Because you're a Seahawks fan.
Well, not just that. You loved what he did throughout the entire offseason process, and then the trade deadline, just all of it.
Yeah. Well, I'm also biased because I have met John, and he's a really, really cool dude. But
at this point, it's bigger news to me if you haven't met somebody.
No, but yeah, it's funny. There was back in, what was it, 22? Yeah, 22. There were several years there where Pete had the final say in personnel and whatever else. Like the Jamal Adams trade. That was, that was Pete who wanted that. But then finally, going into the 22 off season, John was given the keys, and he's had 3 incredible drafts in a row, and he hasn't made any big flashy free agent signings because he hasn't needed to. Instead, he gets guys that fit into a role, who, guys like DeMarcus Lawrence, where you might think, well, he's kind of on the decline, but he was saying, we don't need him to be our star edge rusher. He's just part of our depth, which is what he should be, and he's great for it. And realizing the importance of building offensive line, drafting guys like Cross and Lucas and Zabel. Really the only, I think what he does really well is the mix of, he doesn't draft for need. Like, we need this guy right now. He drafts, okay, who's going to be good for us in, 3, 4, 5 years down the road. That's why, like, when he drafted JSN a few years ago, when the pick happened, that was still, you had Prime, Lockett, and Metcalf. I was like, what? Like, why are you taking a receiver in the first round? That's the stupidest shit ever. Now I'm like, oh, yeah, okay. That's,
and now you see what a head case that former wide receiver of yours ended up being. I can't remember his name.
DK, yeah.
DK. And also letting go of Lockett too. Lockett was a mainstay in letting him go.
Yeah.
DK
met baby cow.
Jesus.
And it's like with Geno wanting $45 million a year and him going, yeah, I'm not paying you that.
Guess what? I'll pay more for Sam Darnold than go to a Super Bowl. That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
You guys ain't paying Darnold that much too, are you?
No, not that, but in the long term of the contract you are. But in the short term, no.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
On a year-to-year basis, it's less. But anyways, 90% of GMs probably would have just given Geno the extension. And which is, there's nothing wrong with that. He's been your starter the last 3 years. He was fine. It's like, well, there's not great quarterbacks in the draft. Okay, we'll just stick it out with him. But he said, no, I have a better idea, and he was right. So
Yeah.
So it's just all that stuff. and apparently the team is going to be sold. That's just rumors at this point, as far as I know.
So ESPN reported it as fact early on in the day a few days ago, and then the state disproved it. So I have no idea.
Yeah. But either way, if Jody does sell, I hope the new owner keeps him, because he's great. So
yeah,
there you go.
All right, Protector of the Year, our new award. I'm going to read this out from NFL.com for those of you who don't know about this award. This award was championed by Buffalo Bills tackle Deion Dawkins. This will be announced annually from now on, so this will be on our awards list. Honoring the league's most outstanding lineman over a single season is determined by an elite selection committee of NFL legends. We'll get to who those people are, including one fellow Eagle. The performance-based evaluation and peer-to-peer approach shines a spotlight on a position group that is essential to a team's success, yet often unrepresented in traditional awards. This is what Troy Vincent, the NFL executive vice president of football operations, said. The offensive line carries the weight of the game. Durability, endurance, leadership, and consistency define their work, even when the spotlight rarely finds them. Protector of the Year, as he continues on, is about recognizing the vital role these tremendous athletes play and celebrating excellence where it starts up front. The panel is LaCharles Bentley, two-time Pro Bowl selection, former Eagle and legend Jason Kelsey, six-time All-Pro and Super Bowl champion, Sean O'Hara, three-time Pro Bowler and Super Bowl champion, Orlando Pace, Pro Football Hall of Fame class of 2016 and a Super Bowl champion, Will Shields, Pro Football Hall of Fame class of 2015 and 2003 Walter Payton Man of the Year, and fellow broadcaster Andrew Whitworth, the 2021 Walter Payton Man of the Year and Super Bowl champion. An excellent panel for an award that has been sorely needed in the NFL for years. Here's how we are supposed to evaluate this award according to what our esteemed panel, is evaluating. Quality of competition, quality and consistency of defensive fronts faced, availability to teammates, presence on field and leadership, durability, ability to meet the physical demands of the season, weekly consistency, sustained performance across the full schedule, video validation, film review confirming execution, technique, and situational impact. And so the video evaluation is more for Shane, and then for Scoop, football analytics, advanced metrics tied to pass protection, run blocking, discipline, and team efficiency. Our nominees are Garrett Bowles. Yep. Our nominees are Garrett Bowles of the Denver Broncos, Aaron Brewster of the Miami Dolphins, Creed Humphrey of the Kansas City Chiefs, Quinn, how do you say this guy's last name? Miners. Quinn Miners, the Denver Broncos, Panay Sewell of the Detroit Lions, and Joe Tooney of the Chicago Bears. So I talked about the importance of the award. Before we actually get to the actual award, Shane, what are you looking for in this award when it comes to the offensive lineman?
I mean, pretty much everything described there. It's just, are you mostly consistency, right? And are you not just hit guy in front of me, but instead, like, are you being, because a lot of linemen are like that, unfortunately. But are you being smart and being aware of what you're doing and the situation? And so, yeah, but I'm going with Panay Sewell for this, because I mean, the guy only gave up 2 sacks all year for a quarterback that is a statue. That's really impressive. So, yeah, and not to mention he's just, he's also great in the run game. Like, there's a reason, Gibbs is so dangerous when he can get to the outside. It's because he has so much time behind Sewell. So, I think that's, for me, it's Sewell, but I mean, I think all these, I think all these guys are great, and quite frankly, I love this award.
Thank you, Dion Dawkins. Thank you, Dion Dawkins, for this award.
Yes.
Thank you.
Because the bigs deserve some love. So,
Yep.
Smart decision making on the Bills' offense this year.
Okay, Scoop, I'm going to go to you next because I'm going to ask about the advanced analytics piece that they're looking at in this award. Tell me why that's important for this selection committee.
Yeah. Well, I think it's important for a couple of reasons. First off, I'll go with one of the more obvious, at least what I think is one of the more obvious ones. Offensive line is probably one of the hardest things to evaluate, numerically speaking.
It's all yeah.
Well, and that's what I was going to say is, and that's what I was going to say is, I'm sorry, I don't care how much you watch of the NFL, of a specific team or whatever, you can't tell me, or I flip that around. I can't tell you, rather, on week 18 what a guy did in week 5, whether a guy missed a block in week 5 against the Chargers, whether a guy, back in week 13 was pancake or whatever the case may be. So, and this is one area in particular where I really like people or like things like NGS or PFF or whatever. And people who really go play by play and grade how these guys go. Did somebody miss a block here? Did somebody, get doubled and maintain and whatever the case may be. And I think also at times it's kind of hard because obviously there's much difference between or not much difference rather, but there is a difference between. Blocking in the run game, blocking in the pass game, both obviously mattering, not absorbing, dumb things like holding penalties and things of that nature, not allowing quarterback hurries and things of that nature. But I think, again, it's obviously the most value is being able to do that in both the run and the pass game, which is how I arrived at my selection here. Do you want me to keep going with my pick, or do you want me to come back?
Please go. What was your selection?
Okay. Well, first off, this isn't my vote, but I just want to say I was a little surprised to not see Tristan Wirf's name here. He was the only one who was rated top 8 among all offensive linemen in both run game and pass game blocking. So I was a little surprised to not see him on this list at all. Just my personal opinion. Tristan Wirf's of the Bucks. But in terms of my actual selection, it came down for me between Joe Thuney and Creed Humphrey. But I think that between the two, I think Humphrey had more of an advantage, had more of a superiority margin over Thuney in the run game that outdid the margin that Thuney was better in the pass game. Even though, let's be honest, blocking for Caleb Williams is no small feat in its own right. That being said, I did go with Creed Humphrey as my protector of the year, and I think he very much deserves it. That said, again, like I mentioned, I would have either replaced one of these guys with Tristan Wirfs, or I would have at least put him as a 7th option here.
Yeah, I went with Joe Thuney for that reason. Blocking Caleb Williams is a task in itself, and again, he has been. That's part of the reason with the first year of this award. I want to honor a guy who in years past would have absolutely won this award. Joe Thuney probably
that's entirely fair, I think.
I would have probably won this award 5 times if it existed, so I did Thuney.
Yeah.
But Brandon, tell me why you think this award is important and the criteria and the panel. What do you love about this award that's so different from everybody or from everything else that we've talked about and are going to talk about down the road here?
It's just that when it comes to offensive linemen, we all know it's not flashy. They do the dirty work, but also if just in general, we always talk about, where do Super Bowl champions come from? The trenches. What defines your team's success, both offensively and defensively? The trenches. So both sides of the ball, really, offensive lineman and D lineman. But offensive, your quarterback is you have the best quarterback in the world. It doesn't matter. Like, look at how Joe Burrow dies in Cincinnati because there's no offensive lineman there. So, you need to have a good offensive line, no matter if you have Tom Brady back there or if you've got Mark Sanchez back there. It's like, I look at offensive linemen, and this is somebody who's done an offensive line, tier list at our previous employer, not tier list, but rankings. And I did it pretty much every week. And when I looked at like different offensive linemen, or different offensive lines, even last year, I looked at it and I went, okay, well, statistically, like, because it was mostly stat based, but it was like, who gave up the least amount of sacks, who gave up the least amount of pressures, who kind of, protected the quarterback. Who, like, I tend to favor guys who protect the quarterback's blind side more than the guards or the opposite tackle. So and I think with the panel too, it's a great panel of guys to pick from. I also, I can't help but wonder that, I know Jason Kelce was probably going to be on there anyway because he's one of the best offensive linemen to ever play the game. But I love that, it's part of a Players Association kind of thing, and Troy Vincent is the executive for that because Troy Vincent's a former Eagle, as in the Eagles Hall of Fame.
Right, yeah, but he's the main PA, well, one of the main NFL executives. Yeah. That's why he was the one commenting on part of starting the award.
Yeah, but that's why I kind of like that. There's some Eagles that stick together there.
So who did you take?
But for me, so the best offensive line this year was Denver. Now there's 2 Denver guys on this list, but guards usually have help, and on the inside, quarterbacks can see that more when pressure's coming right at them versus off the edges. Bo Nix, right-handed quarterback. Garrett Bowles, left tackle. That's Bo Nix's blind side. So, to me, if you can allow pretty much the least amount of pressure this year, like Denver did, because they were the best offensive line this year, least amount of sacks, all that good stuff. And Garrett Bowles has been in this league for a long time already, and he deserves his flowers. He's been here since 2017 with the same team, and he's finally making an All-Pro this year. So, Miners has been here a little bit less, so I kind of give him a little bit more runway. Maybe if he's on this next year, I'll give it to him. But Garrett Bowles, to me, deserves it. He protects Bo Nix and has been there long enough to where I think he should have won this award already. So
if it existed,
I like it.
Bowles is my second choice.
Yeah, and that being said, we can jump ahead really quick. I probably should have wrote this earlier. Our best offensive line group, which is the combined of everybody. Because this is one of our combined awards. Our nominees were the Broncos, the Colts, the Panthers, the Packers, and the Rams for our own show awards. As Brandon said, the Broncos were the answer here for me as well, and I assume for Shane, correct?
Yep.
Scoop? All right,
yes,
yeah.
Sorry.
All 4 Denver Broncos.
Go, finally.
And again, it's obvious. We just said why. If you have two guys in the Protected the Year award, you're going to win the group award. It's that simple.
Yeah.
Best receiving core, which includes wide receivers and tight ends. You can also count how they do as blocking as well. But receiving core in general. Again, this is our own personal show awards. Our nominees were the Rams, the Eagles, the Cowboys, the Lions, and the Cardinals. Shane, who won this award for you? Best receiving core receivers / tight ends.
The Rams. I mean,
yeah.
I think it's pretty self-explanatory.
Yep. Okay. Rams for us 3. Scoop.
Yeah, it's tough because this is one of those positions where you try to isolate them as much as you can but it's almost impossible to isolate them from like the quarterback and other because it's such a position that can heavily either influence or be influenced by other positions. And with that in mind, at this point, I did also take Los Angeles.
Easy. This one is tough, but it's my favorite award that we do because I love running back duos, and that's why I created this award because I think we're at a point in the league where it's not just one running back doing all the work, it's 2 and sometimes 3, so they deserve some love. And obviously, this is the original Gibbs Montgomery Award. That's what inspired it. and they're on the list again this year. So Gibbs and Montgomery for the Detroit Lions, Barkley and Tank for the Eagles, Kenneth Walker and Charbonnet for the Seahawks, Swift and Monangai for the Bears, and Kyron Williams and Blake Corum for the Los Angeles Rams. A lot of ands there because this is obviously a duo award. I went back and forth on this. I love Kyron and Corum together, but it ended up being for me Swift and Monangai because once Monangai came into the fold, that offense flew like a missile in the running back position. So Swift and Monangai did it for me. Brandon, go ahead.
Yeah, I and the Rams are starting to dominate these awards. I picked Kyron and Corum.
That was my original pick. That was my original pick. I switched it during the show. But go ahead.
Because I looked at how they performed this year. And to me, the two best when I was looking through all these different running back duos, the two best statistically were those two and Gibbs and Montgomery again. But then when I looked at it even more, I'm like, well, the Rams made the playoffs. Lions didn't. A lot of that was the run game that the Rams had. And I think that, they had more yards per carry together combined than Gibbs and Montgomery. They had less fumbles because I think Detroit, both of them each of them had two. And these guys, I think, had two. So 4 versus 2, kind of easy there. I just liked, I liked them finally giving Kyron Williams a spell and mixing in Blake Corum more, and that's allowed this offense to kind of hit another gear with the running game. And I just think that as far as offensive lines go, I think Detroit is better overall than the Rams. So, Detroit, you got more chances to kind of get down the field, running or passing. But I think that, especially Kyron having the ball security issues, we were worried about him kind of, taking a lesser role, but he actually he performed really well this year. And then Corum giving him spells he was really good in those chances that he got. So I think together those two were my pick for this.
Scoop.
I need to not go next, please, because my computer's frozen.
Oh, no.
All right, I'll
Shane,
go. Robert, I'm with you. I'm going Swift and Monangai. I was considering Corum and Kyron, but when I look at them, it's like I feel like they are so similar in terms of what they do and their kind of their style of play. Whereas to me, that's what makes like Swift and Monangai so good is because they're so different as far as what they bring and and like it kind of feels like no matter who's in the game they're just going to dominate because let's be honest, they carried that offense. Caleb, yes, he was a lot better this year, but it was still rough. And he would really only play good in the fourth quarter. Mm-hmm. Whereas those two, like, they were pretty consistent throughout. So, yeah.
Scoop, I hope your computer's doing better. What do you have?
So here's the thing. And this is what was quite fascinating to me, is I made my pick based on very similar logic to Shane, yet made a different selection. First of all, I chose the Seahawks duo. Okay. But I chose the Seahawks duo specifically because I wasn't as interested in a selection where it was like, we know who the best running back is, but the next one's still pretty good. I wanted one who each one did something better than the other, or at least it was a balanced duo where each added something to the offense. What I did here is I went because even though Charbonnet rated very well in the running game, Walker rated much better in the receiving game. So I liked that balance. as opposed to, somebody who there's a clear choice that, one person's clearly both better in the running and receiving game, and the other one is just also pretty good at both. When I think of a running back duo, I want each to add like their own sort of element to the recipe. And that's how I ended up with making the Seattle pick.
All right. I like it. I like that we all had different answers. This one I was clearly expecting a different answer because this one was very hard. A lot of very deserving nominees. Best front seven group, defensive line and linebackers. Our nominees are the Denver Broncos, Houston Texans, Seattle Seahawks, Los Angeles Chargers, and Cleveland Browns. Shane, would you like to start?
I would love to, and I will go right back to the Denver Broncos. They had the most sacks in the league by a wide margin, and I believe they were the second best rushing defense. And those are like the two things that the front seven does. And it's just they're just stacked up there. So to me, this was a no-brainer. But I think you can make a case for really any of these teams, personally. But yeah.
Brandon, who did you take?
I went with the defense that pretty much since last year. I talked about them in fantasy reasons. I think I talked about them for fantasy reasons this year, but I also went with them because they were the number one overall defense at the end of the season, and that's Houston. And also, I took Houston for a bunch of reasons. Well, I love Daniil Hunter and Will Anderson and Azeez Al-Shaair. Those three guys in that front seven are fantastic. Two of them had over 12 sacks this year, so 2 game records on the line. Having a linebacker who could basically sack the quarterback also and pick the ball off like Al-Shaair did, had basically impacted every other play. I love those three guys on that front seven. And not just that, but Houston, while Denver was great, Denver had games where I was like, oh, like that, you got beat by kind of a worser team. Oh, not worser, Jesus. Worse team.
Sorry.
But also we talked about it all year. That Houston Texans defense was number one in the league. They dragged that garbage Texans offense to the playoffs. They dragged them. It's like a lion dragging a gazelle through the Serengeti. like literally, they dragged a corpse to the playoffs. So for that reason alone, I'm basically picking Houston. But Houston was great on all fronts. Like I said, number one defense overall. But Chargers were right there at the top. Seattle was right there at the top. All these defenses were right at the top. I mean, hell, you could even say Cleveland because Cleveland had a top 5 defense this year. But I think overall, given the fact that the Texans defense dragged a garbage offense to the playoffs, and the fact that those three guys just put in work from start to finish all year long, it's Houston for me.
Yeah, I also went with Houston for the same reasons. I don't think their secondary dragged them to the playoffs. I think if you want to go more specific, I think it was their D-line and their linebackers.
The front seven, yep.
So, Scoop.
Hi.
Hi.
So here's one thing that I noticed about the 5 selections the 5 nominees that were pulled is 3 of these guys.
We did them. This was our poll. We did the nominees.
I know, but when I said what we noticed, I meant sat back and I analyzed it on my own.
Right. Go from there.
Yeah. First and foremost, 3 of these teams had defensive head coaches, or at least very strong defensive-minded head coaches. And I looked at one in particular that not only had an offensive head coach, but their guy wasn't really getting many defensive or their defensive guy wasn't really getting many head coaching looks until the very end of the coaching saga
cycle.
Yeah. And this was all on top of the fact that their defense really carried them through most of the season and was really the only reason that anybody was remotely talking about them in any sort of respectful manner by week 13, I would say. And that defensive coordinator is still in a controversy right now because he was pissed off about being passed over for his team's head coaching position. And so, yeah, I'm going with Jim Schwartz's defense in Cleveland. And I think that it was just that he in particular, not only I think got undersold for what he accomplished this year, but I think that he has been multiple times over the last couple of years. I know this is entirely based on this season, but again, you knew what you had with Myles Garrett in particular, but Mason Graham, who people I think were quick to forget what negative press and negative media there was against drafting Myles Graham because they traded out of the pick that would have been Travis Hunter, presumably, and ultimately was Travis Hunter going to the Jags. So there was a lot of negative publicity and negative press on Mason Graham. So that also I thought was a factor in all this, where many of these guys on Cleveland's defense weren't expected to be what they were this season. And a lot of them were young, which means that there's room for them to, still go up from here. And I just really hope that their coaching staff doesn't once again screw up what could be a good point to grow from. And a lot of that did happen in the front seven. And we all said multiple times this year that even a below average quarterback, I don't think that every single one of these front seven groups, you can take them to a team with even a below average quarterback. I think that is the case in Cleveland.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair there. Okay, let's move on here. We are going to the one that oh crap. Yay, we're doing this one because they won it last year and they're going to win it again. The nominees were the Cleveland Browns, the Houston Texans, the Buffalo Bills, the Denver Broncos, and the Philadelphia Eagles. Best secondary group, cornerbacks and safeties. It's the Philadelphia Eagles, and it's not even really close. And I don't. Well, at least for the three of us,
someone's phone is vibrating.
I don't think it's close. I'm gonna tell you. You want me to tell you why?
Yeah. Go.
So let's rewind it for a second, shall we? Boop, boop, boop. So we come after a Super Bowl season last year. We lose a ton of key free agents. We then go fast forward. They don't really address a lot of those holes this year. So when you don't address that many holes on defense, you expect your defense to be worse. Was it worse overall? Yes, but ton of injuries throughout this season, and they still finished as the number 8 pass defense in the NFL. And not just that, I believe, if I did my research correctly, I could be wrong, only cornerback duo to have 2 first-team All-Pros.
Yeah.
They allowed the least passing touchdowns in the NFL this year. So that includes both those guys, Coop and Q, and the rest of the secondary. So Blankenship, Makuba, Brown, who's trash, Adoree Jackson, who's apparently trash, but yet still had 11 pass deflections this year, which is crazy to think about, but he did. And it's the only unit to have 2 DBs in the top 10 for pass deflections, pass breakups, which is Coop and Q. And Adoree Jackson was not too far behind. So to me,
is astonishing to me.
So to me, when I think about that, I don't think it's not really being a homer. I think that Philly had the best secondary. When you have 2 guys, also not just that, but Coop and Q were, I believe, the 2 highest rated corners in the NFL this year, and they were the best by far at outside corner and slot. I think statistically, it's Philly. It's easily Philly to me.
Yeah, Shane, why are you itching a little bit in a different direction?
Because I think Philly is a close second for this award. And as a former DB and current DB coach, I obviously watch DBs a lot because I'm a dork. And the difference, it's a really subtle difference, mostly in terms of it's not something that you see on the stat sheet. It's the way I noticed teams changing their offensive approach when they played Philly versus when they played my pick, which is the Houston Texans.
I was in my head. I was thinking, I think I know where he's going to go with this, and Houston was where I thought you were going to go.
And this is what I mean. So Philly, first of all, I want to give them their flowers because they are an amazing secondary. it's Philly. You get a lot of picks, a lot of pass breakups, big hits, just momentum swings.
That's where I'm gonna flip it real quick. That's why I didn't pick Houston, because Houston had the flashy stat interceptions and whatnot. Teams were still throwing on them. Teams did not throw on Q and Coop at all this year because they knew better. They threw mostly at Dory Jackson.
I mean, right, but that's the issue is there's the Eagles did have that big hole, therefore they were able to kind of bait teams into mistakes, whereas a lot of times Houston, I mean, their coverage was just so tight that it's offenses couldn't even do anything, and it's there's no easy throws. Quarterbacks would be holding the ball longer, and I think that's part of the reason why their front seven looks so good is because they just had more time to get sacks. But so I think for me it's just not only it was more so the impact as far as how the rest of the defense played as a result of their secondary and how other teams changed their offensive philosophy in many ways. And I mean, a lot of really pass-heavy teams had by far their worst games of the season against Stingley. I mean, they have 3 really good corners, 3 pretty good safeties. That's, I mean, that you don't see that very much. So, to me, it's I mean, it's really subtle difference, but again, I don't hate the Philly pick. I think they're easily number 2. And I think there's definitely a case for them to be 1. So,
can I add one more thing to that?
No, please, Scoop. Go ahead. Finish this up
real
with
quick,
this
because I did actually. There was a 1% part of me that did at least give consideration to Houston, but it was actually for a reason that I don't think was brought up. But this the way we scripted it, right? The way we laid it out says corner/safety. And so in my mind, I was thinking if you're going with the top corner and top safety from each group, I would have taken Pitter and Lassiter because I don't think we had a safety that could make it as a duo because our safety production, as Brandon knows, was not that great between Mukuba and the other guy's name who I hated watching so much I forgot his name. But
and Reed Blankenship.
Yeah, I called him blank and shit a few times this year. But I just but yeah, so that actually was one of the reasons why I gave brief consideration to Houston was because I thought that Pitter and Lassiter, in terms of one guy at each position, was maybe the fit for this award. So
now, if this was just best corners, it's Philly.
Yeah,
but
when it's
the whole secondary.
Yeah, that's where I kind of doubled back for a brief moment and thought, should I give this to Houston?
That's probably the only. I think that's the only other reason why I didn't go Houston was because we talked about how good their front seven was. With their front seven being that good, it just forced a lot of bad throws from quarterbacks, a lot of easier picks and things like that. Like Q and Coop to me had to earn everything they had this year. Because our front seven was outside of Zach Bond and N'Kobe, outside of our linebackers, that front 4-5 guys was not that good this year. Jordan Davis was good, but that was really it. So, to me, I'm like, well, if the quarterback's got more time to throw, more guys are going to be open. And we had so many injuries on top of that too to still finish top 8 in pass defense. And then a lot of that is Q and Coop, but still, Reed did have a couple tough games, but Reed still had a couple games where he did play well. We had to deal with really not having any safeties or a true outside CB2 at all, and to still be that good with that many injuries, not having a front 4 really. To me, that's why I went Philly, not just because of the homer stuff, but I just looked at it as those two guys playing so well. And then it's funny, even Adoree Jackson, as much as he was crap this year, he played really well the last 6 games of the season. He actually did play really well, guarding a lot of teams' wide receiver 3s. So, I mean, hell, there's even one game where he who the hell did he lock up that was really good? Yeah, like there was one point where like he locked up Lad McConkey, I think.
Yeah, that was
Like, I was
later
like,
in the year.
wow. Like,
Yeah.
so I had to. I think in the end, that's what gave him the edge. Is that Houston's defense as a whole was great, but they had good players across the board. We didn't, and we still finished with the top 8 pass defense. So that's why, to me, that was my reasoning in the end.
Yeah. All right. Well, this one is going to be Scoop's award because he loves the head coaching process, and rightfully so. The best head coaching hire, it doesn't have to be so far anymore. Well, I guess it does because the
There's still
Kubiak
more.
thing is official. Well, we're talking head coaches. That's the group. It's done.
Yeah.
But so here we go. Best head coaching hire so far in quotes because of Clint Kubiak. But that will get done by.
And I don't know if you heard Mike LaFleur to the Cardinals.
Yeah, we got it on there.
No, that's done. He signed it already. He signed it an hour ago. So yeah, the Clint Kubiak's the only one. All right, here's our list: Todd Monken, Cleveland Browns; Joe Brady, Buffalo Bills; Mike McCarthy, Pittsburgh Steelers; Jesse Minter, Baltimore Ravens; Robert Saleh, Tennessee Titans; Jeff Hathley, Miami Dolphins; Kevin Stefanski, Atlanta Falcons; John Harbaugh, New York Football Giants; Mike LaFleur, Arizona Cardinals. It's going to be tough with 2 LaFleurs in the NFL now to distinguish them, but it's fine.
And both with our name of M, Mike,
and
Matt.
with them.
And 2 Harbaughs with names that start with J.
Jesus.
And then
They're literally
obviously
an 8th of the league.
And then obviously, in air quotes, even though we know it's going to get done, Clint Kubiak of the Las Vegas Raiders. Scoop, as you spearheaded this process for us throughout the way, you get the first pick for best head coaching hire.
Sounds
pre
good. This was
2026 season.
Oh, sorry.
So it's pre the season, which is important because obviously this pick changes once we pick, our coaches later in the year. But pre everything happening, draft and everything, here's the coaches are available. Who are you taking, Scoop?
Yeah. So, sorry, this computer keeps doing dumb, weird stuff. Yeah. Anyway, basically, I went through these and it was kind of interesting because I think Shane's the one who made this point a couple of shows ago where half of these I'm like, I love this. And the other half I'm like, I'm left shaking my head or I'm left very kind of confused.
That's how it usually goes.
But I also think that I forget who the actual original quote is from or if it's just like an ongoing saying that people use. But basically, and it was talked about in some of the business classes I took at SHU also, is just you can tell a lot by someone's value to an organization or to a structure or whatever by what happens after they leave. And it didn't take more than 10 minutes for this guy to walk out the door before they started looking like the dysfunctional mess that they were before he got there. With that in mind, I did pick Atlanta Falcons head coach Kevin Stefanski. And I first and foremost, most of the other teams that made their decision to move off their head coach, or who had their head coach resign, most of them you looked at, like, for example, the Steelers, the Ravens, the Bills, a lot of those teams we looked at and were like, it was time for a separation. At no point did we think Stefanski, or did I think at least Stefanski and Cleveland was a separation that needed to happen, especially not for the coach's sake.
We said that all year because he got scapegoated.
Right. So I think bringing him in, not only bringing him in, but bringing him in to work with a structure that now includes Matt Ryan, bringing him into a team that we also looked at this past year and thought this is a team that could have won far more games than they did and perhaps should have won far more games than they did. And now having, I think we would all believe, a much better coach and quarterback guy to kind of spearhead that, most of that same roster going into next year, having, with the success that he had in the running game, not only in Cleveland, but back to his days in Minnesota, getting him to coach Bijan Robinson. There's a lot I'm looking forward to here. Stefanski was my guy.
All right. Who wants to go next? Does anyone have to?
Well, I suppose I can.
I don't care.
No,
I just didn't know who to go to. We're so deep in this.
Yeah, I think Stefanski's probably my pick as well. I think I think this is for all the reasons Scoop said. It's this is a very winnable division, the NFC South, and I think Cleveland is a far more chaotic and just wild organization than Atlanta is. And if he was able to get to the playoffs twice when he was there, in a much tougher AFC North, I think that bodes well for him. Although I do want to give a shout out. I mean, John Harbaugh to the Giants. I mean, that should work. Obviously, he'll at least get them back on the tracks and going in the right direction. I really like Robert Saleh. Not so much that I love Tennessee for him. I was hoping that for his next head coaching opportunity, he would go to a less chaotic and non-functional organization. But here we are. But I love the combination of him and Brian Dable.
I was just going to ask you about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that might be a top 10 play calling duo in the league. Like, I'm not exaggerating there. And the other job that I think has some sneaky good potential is Kubiak to the Raiders. It's a tough division, but you look at his philosophy and what he does with, like, I think whether it's Mendoza or whoever ends up being quarterback and having a guy like Genty, I think he's going to be able to maximize them and maybe not, make the Raiders like a playoff team, but at least get them competitive. I would not be shocked at all if, next year we're sitting here going, wow, that was a great year for him. The others, Todd Monken to Cleveland, I don't get it. Joe Brady to Buffalo, I really don't get that. I mean, that's somebody. Somebody said online that the Bills hiring Joe Brady is like, because they were saying, oh, we need a coaching change, and then this that we need a fresh voice, and they hire a guy that was already there.
You're gonna hate me. You're gonna hate me. Sorry, you're gonna hate me.
And somebody, I just have to say this though because it's funny. Somebody online said, "This is like pissing your pants and then changing your shirt instead of your pants."
Okay. You guys are gonna hate me because my best coaching hire was Joe Brady, easily, without a question.
Wow, he doubled and tripled down.
Because as much as I think the Bills are idiots for the whole thing, because they are, I'm gonna try to put this as succinctly as I can. The reason why this move was made, very easily, without a question, it wasn't the GM, it wasn't the owner. God bless America, especially the owner. The reason why Joe Brady was hired was at the recommendation of Josh Allen only.
And that's why I don't like it.
That's why I love it. That's funny because that's why I love it, because I think this offense with Joe Brady, and again, a lot of the concerns that we have about Buffalo and how they use their offense does come from Joe Brady. So I do get the hesitation, but I much rather have Allen be in a position where he knows the playbook, he knows what I would be scared if I hired someone when I have a guy that's that solid of an offensive mind, not incredible, but that solid of an offensive mind in the building. I'd rather not let him go somewhere else and me having to go get somebody from a different organization with a different scheme and a different system. And again, they need a system that better utilizes their running game. And no, we don't mean Josh Allen. I get that. But at the same time, I don't want a mind who I think is that good to leave the building. It's the only situation where I was really comfortable with the decision, even though I still thought Dable should have got the job. And I still believe that. But to me, it was clearly Joe Brady, and it wasn't really that close. Because as much as I have back and forth with it, as Shane rightfully said, as to why he doesn't get it, to me, if I was Buffalo, if I didn't get Dable and I didn't feel comfortable with how he interviewed, it was Brady or bust, honestly. Brandon, what say you? Best head coaching hire?
Now, I think, and just to follow off what you said, I think the Bills also, too, just at that point, were just backed into a corner where it's like, what else is there really out there for them
Yeah.
at that point? So it was like, we talk about like, never hire from within, like never promote from within. And I get that. And I'm not a fan of that either. But I think the Bills, were really out of good choices, like really good options that at least in their mind and for what they need and for what they want to do. And I think, but I'm also just hesitant with that because if I like my quarterback having input on the offense, I wanted Jalen to do that this year, but I don't want it to be so much to where it's like, oh, they did it because of Josh Allen. Like, I don't want that to be the main, because the thing is too, you gotta look at it this way. With Joe Brady, that offense isn't going to change. It's going to be the same exact offense. And that same exact offense.
That is what I hope. I hope that they reconvene and realize that this didn't work because they have to.
Yeah, but Howard, but the thing is, are they going to? Because Joe Brady's been running the same garbage for the last 3 years. So it's like, are they really going to change? I don't think so. That's my problem with it. Is like I want to believe they could, and I want to believe that maybe as a head coach he might delegate a little bit. But Joe Brady's offense is Joe Brady's offense. Yeah. So like.
But the thing is, and I apologize for interrupting. Why I just want to clarify. The main reason why I voted him for best head coaching hire is, to me, I feel like if you bring anyone else in, you're screwed. Because Josh Allen learning a brand new system that he's not comfortable with is going to be hell.
I mean, he can do it though. Like if
he can do it, but to me, it's hell. To me, that sounds in a situation that's already hell. Don't make it worse. And all these other options, it's just like, and all these other options, I'm just like, I feel most confident that Brady and the Bills bare minimum can get back to an AFC title game.
And the things I like Joe Brady. I wanted Joe Brady as our OC, but at the same time, but as head coach, I can't see that. Like to me, that could be real messy, real fast. I mean, listen, it could work. It could. Anything can in this league. But, I mean, Joe Brady to me is like, you're running the same exact offense, and your defense is going to, I think, largely be unchanged. So are you going to get over the hump next year finally or not? Like, if you didn't do it this year, how wide open it was, how is this going to get you over the hump next year? That's where
it's fair. It's fair criticism. I just like it more than any of these other.
But
even Harbaugh.
But it's also, I mean, it's also just like, every time a owner hires a coach because all the a player wanted him or the players wanted him. I mean, Antonio Pierce, Freddie Kitchens.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Steve Wilkes in Arizona. Hell, let's go to basketball. Steve Nash for the Nets. Like,
thank you.
Every time that happened, how did it turn out? Not good.
This is the one case where I think it can turn out. I'm confident in it.
Okay. Look, I think having
it can. It's just like a 1% chance.
Right. I mean, anything's possible, obviously, but it's like it's just you want. I would rather go out and get somebody who I think can fix things as opposed to just let's keep Josh comfortable. That's not going to get you anywhere.
Can I quadruple down on this? I'm going to quadruple down on this, and if I'm wrong, I'm sorry. I probably will be. Joe Brady will be an AP Coach of the Year candidate next year, and that's how confident I am in it.
I respect it.
That's how confident I am in it. All
right,
Brandon.
I can see it because Josh Allen's not going to let him fail. So,
all right, Brandon, what's your pick?
But yeah, my actual pick was one that we announced when it was breaking news on the show, and or not breaking news. I think it might have been the day before, but we still talked about it on the show a few weeks ago. Maybe probably I think more about almost even a month ago. Was that actually was about a month ago. And I said that it was huge because they needed this kind of turnaround here. I don't know how no one said it. Jesse Minter to the Ravens. I love that a lot.
That was not a month ago, though.
That was like 3 weeks ago.
It was close.
It was like divisional round weekend that we talked about it. I
Yeah,
think.
so about 3 weeks. So to me, with Minter, and I said it at the time, and I'm gonna say it again. When Baltimore has had their most playoff success, and when they've won their Super Bowls, what was the one thing they won it off of? Defense. Now, what did the Ravens not have the last really 2 years? Defense. And the Ravens' pass defense this year was 30th in the league. Their overall defense was 24th by season's end. Minter, in 2 years in LA with the Chargers, coached a top 10 defense both years, and this year they were 5th. So they are a top 5 defense. They were top 10 in both pass and rushing. And I think that they've got the offense. Lamar's there, Derrick Henry's there, Zay Flowers, yeah, if he can just put the glue on his hands. But I think their offense is fine. They don't need no offensive kind of voice in there. They needed a defensive-minded head coach, and especially in this division where there's already two other coaches, two other coaching spots that have changed hands. So it's going to be a free-for-all next year in this division. I think that's the best. That's the best of those, even those three. So I think that the Ravens were a missed kick from winning the damn division this year and going to the playoffs. So, and that was with a crap defense. Can you imagine if they have a good offense next year with a even better defense next year? They become a Super Bowl favorite again. So to me, I look at it and I go, Jesse Minter is a no-brainer for me on this list because all the other ones have issues that I'm like, ooh. Because the thing is, Harbaugh, they say, is going to have a lot of say in New York with the Giants. But I still don't trust the Giants, especially with all the controversy they're having now, for obvious reasons. Yeah. I don't trust anything about that front office and ownership for the Giants. And I still don't. And the thing is, I think the Giants are still 2 or 3 years away from being really good again. So I don't think it's going to really be – that might be a best head coach in a couple years, not now. Stefanski, I love. You guys have heard me say that 1,000 times. But with the Falcons, once again, ownership, front office suck. I don't trust it. Steelers, kind of a lot of the same. And also Mike McCarthy, I don't think is a fit. Steelers, Mike McCarthy and the Steelers.
Mike McCarthy is an old head dinosaur who doesn't deserve head coaching jobs anymore.
Yeah, that's such a lateral move.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Literally the most lateral thing you could possibly do.
That's the thing is, I wish we had also done a worst head coaching hire and a worst that type of thing.
Do you want to do that right now? It's Mike McCarthy. It's not even close.
Yeah. So
it's terrible.
Yeah.
I actually have a different pick.
Please tell me. Wait, Scoop. Please tell me it's Todd Monken.
Yep.
There you go.
See, or Jeff Hafley. I don't love that.
But I don't love Hafley either.
Hafley makes no sense. You're going to hire the guy that just blew the damn game against the Bears in the playoffs?
Well,
really?
See, here's the thing, and I'm not going to keep repeating what I've said in the past about guys who don't have great rated offenses or defenses that go on to be good head coaches. But the Monken thing, it just because it wasn't just the hire itself. Because you remember, Brendan, I wanted Monken as ROC. Yeah. Way back in the day, but it was the example. It was just the epitome and just the climax of an absolute pathetic lack of direction and just completely gaffed up at every single turn, process or lack thereof, that Cleveland, once again, for a team that needs a new hiring process every 18 months, somehow still doesn't know how to do it, for a team that does it more than any other team in the NFL that's not named the Raiders.
Well, it was I'm not going to play the clip here because we're not going to have time, but it was oh my God, who was it? My brain is fried. One of the NFL Tom Pelissero. Tom Pelissero was on Rich Eisen last week, and he said, they have a very analytical process. You have to do 3 hours of homework, and you have to do all these equations. And it's just
I like the process the way I heard it. I just don't like the people who are overseeing the process. Well, great process doesn't mean squat if the people who are overseeing the process are complete Neanderthals.
Yep. Well, that, but also
I meant to say nincompoops.
Still, but also, guys, these coaches are trying to figure out how to get out of their new jobs, move towns, move cities, boxes, families. Hey, let me sit down and do a 3-hour homework assignment. Are you kidding me?
I mean, I'll say
What
this
are
is
we
the
doing?
process. The process that was partly put in by Paul De Podesta. That's the same process that yielded Kevin Stefanski, which was their best coaching hire in probably 25 years. So I'm not.
Yeah, well,
100%
guess what?
sure
They
on that.
let him go.
Well, I know. That's my
idiots.
point. That's my point because that's my point. And also, Paul De Podesta left to GM the Colorado Rockies.
Yeah, have fun with that.
Do you now see why by process elimination I took Jesse Minter for the Ravens? Because it kind of makes a lot of sense.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Like, you know,
no, I get it.
the flashy names on here are the flashy names. Like, you know, obviously Harbaugh, Stefanski, Saleh, you know, hell, even old ass Mike McCarthy. but to me, it's like just Minter makes the most sense for what the Ravens need. And I think, and we said, yeah, if Cleveland had a half decent offense, they'd be fine. Tom Monken can bring that. But I think that I will take the Ravens roster over the Browns. And I think I don't like I trust the Ravens front office to give Minter a better starting point than I do with the Browns. So
Also, unpopular opinion, but I loved Bashotti's interview.
yeah.
I don't think that's that unpopular. I think we all liked it.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you guys said you hated it.
I
No.
hate it, but I also
Pagula.
like it. Pagula,
Oh,
I
okay.
hate it.
Pagula's-
Oh,
Oh,
no.
well,
I hated Steve Bashotti's interview, but I loved it as a media guy because I'm like, this is perfect content. This is great.
Oh no, it was great. I loved it.
Okay.
I think he just said what we all been saying for the last 5 years. Harbaugh needs to go at some point.
He just said it.
Well, that's the thing is I loved how straight up he was about, he would have been here for a week. Like, I wish that more people gave that straightforward answer is what I was getting
But
at.
also, what I didn't like is like the reporting didn't really match up with what he was saying. So it definitely was weird. Like it definitely wasn't comfortable. One more thing on the coaching. Mike LaFleur, Arizona Cardinals is the only one we didn't touch, and I kind of hate it. I think it's wasteful. I honestly think it's just wasteful.
I don't
like
hate
nobody
it
wanted
because Go ahead, sorry.
Nobody wanted the Cardinals' job.
That was what I was about to. That's what I was about to say. Is not only do the Cardinals suck, their ownership isn't well liked. Their general manager is at best, I think, the jury's still out on him. They had to replace a complete fraud, and it's just if he comes back as our defensive coordinator, I'm gonna shit bricks.
A couple of things that I will do.
That would be hilarious.
But anyway, but no, it's just everything because a lot of places do like those rankings of like how we did it. I think those like of how much or how well how attractive the jobs would be. This is the first year I can think of.
I'm sad we didn't have time to do it again because we just don't have the clock for it.
Well, there was also 10 jobs we didn't expect. But this is the first year I can think of where every freaking one that I read had the same team at the bottom: Arizona. And that was in a year that Cleveland had a job opening and Tennessee had a job opening.
Brandon's right. They play in the damn desert.
They play in a desert. Who the hell wants to go to Arizona? They play in a damn desert.
Well, here's what's hilarious. I read all the articles and not one of them mentioned the weather.
Yeah.
True. Okay, we're a bit over time, but this is great. I didn't pick nominees for these, and I'm pissed. Best kicker / punter. For me, Cam Little, Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm even counting the preseason 70-yarder that this guy pulled. So, Shane agrees with me there. Brandon?
Yeah, I wish I could agree, and I went back and forth on it, but I went with the more accurate kicker, and I went with Dicker the kicker. So, I think Dicker was better overall.
No Jake Elliott for you?
My God. Jake Elliott's in the worst kicker / punter.
Jake Elliott needs the fall off of Jake Elliott needs to be studied in a lab or somewhere in a history class, in a science class, a sports science class, sports medicine. Someone study that damn fall off. How do you go from kicking 50, 60 like it's nothing, like it's 20 yards, to being the worst damn kicker in the NFL from 50 plus?
Sorry, guys. I had to get Brandon's goat for a second. Go on.
Thank you.
That was good. Well, there you go. That's your worst one. If you want to do a worst one, Scoop,
he's my pot cookies kicker.
He's your pot. We're not even on the pot cookies game of the year.
I don't care.
All right, Scoop, best kicker / punter.
Yeah. I mean, I've jumped around a very little bit, but yeah, I'm gonna lock in Cam Little as well. I don't see a strong argument for anybody else the way that there is for Cam Little. So I'll keep him.
Yeah. Best special teamer, my favorite NFL player right now. I'm not joking. He's my favorite player. Chamari DK, Tennessee Titans wide receiver.
Yeah.
I knew that was coming.
The speed, the agility, he didn't get as much love as he needed. He was I'm going to make a hot take, guys, and I think it's accurate. He was the best player on the Tennessee Titans this year. That's how bad the Titans were.
I don't think that's oh my god. I don't think that's a majorly hot take.
I think he was their best player by far.
Who the hell else are you going to take on the Titans? Cam Ward, maybe.
Who was inconsistent as hell.
Yeah, other than that, that's it. Yeah, so yeah, it's not that hot of a take. I think it's right.
Jabari DK. Did anyone else take DK?
I did. You did.
Okay. Shane?
Well, I didn't know we were doing this award, so I said there was only going to be one Seahawk. But my man Shaheed, I mean...
Swerve!
Yeah! True.
Swerve again.
True. Swerve. No. It's true. It's true. He was great in the regular season, too. It's true.
Yeah. No, dude is electric as a returner.
Yeah,
I gotta give him some.
See, I was just thinking about like throughout the year, like he really took off when he got to Seattle, when he got moved. So that's why I'm I'm thinking about the whole year. That's why I gave it to DK.
Yeah. Okay. Scoop.
Yeah, this was one of the two hardest ones for me, just because, again, not the easiest thing in the world to really keep determine how to measure special teams. So I did a little bit of if you want to call it research on this, in terms of guys who had to actually were in the most snaps that were as special teams and one thing or another. The one that I ended up going with, and I don't even know if this is even remotely going to be a hot take or not, but I went with Devin Key from Denver.
Yeah, he was really good.
Okay, yeah.
He was really good.
Yeah.
He was really good. He was wasn't he a gunner most of the year too? Did he do some gunner work? Wasn't he also not a returner, but he did some gunner as well this year, I think? I could be wrong.
I think you're right.
Yeah, I think he did some gunner this year. That's a really good choice. That's a big pull. I like that. Okay. Game of the year. I'm sure we missed some selection, so please shout at us in any comment section possible. NFC title game. Niners at Bears week 17. Ravens versus Bills week 1. Giants Cowboys week 2. Bears Bengals week 9. This is obviously Brandon's award. So Brandon, you get the pick first slot for game of the year.
Well, for how drunk this season was, it's only fair that it kicked off with a bang. So I went Ravens Bills week 1. When the Ravens piss away a game in that fashion, I mean, the Bills hung around. It wasn't like they were getting absolutely destroyed in that game. They were down, I think, at most by 15 points, but still 2 scores. It seems like a lot, but it's 2 scores. It's not a lot in football. So, and then for them to basically score, what is it? I think they scored 16 points in the final 3-4 minutes. So to me, that game was great. I mean, you had the Derrick Henry fumble, which changed the game late. Both teams put over 40 points, but there was still defense played. That's why I didn't pick Bears-Bengals, because there was not a lick of defense played that entire game. Same thing with Niners-Bears week 17. Both those games, there was no defense whatsoever. It was just a basketball game up and down the field. So Ravens-Bengals still had defense. It was still high scoring. It was only decided by 1 point. So I had some thrills, and like I said, it set the tone for possibly the drunkest season that we've covered so far. So,
and we thought last season was drunk.
Yeah, this year was easily, God, man. We still didn't know who 95% of these teams were by week 12. We had no idea who the hell these teams were. So yeah, Ravens Bills week 1, that just set the tone for a wild season. So.
Yeah. And again, with this award, we're obviously taking playoff games. This can be switched. If the Super Bowl sucks, we could switch the award. If it's great, we
yeah.
could switch the award. Scoop, what's your game of the year?
Wait, so you said playoff games were not eligible for this?
They were eligible for this, yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. I went with the NFC Championship game.
Me too.
I think
me three.
I think that, well, first and foremost, it was the only game where nobody scored at least 40 points. So if you actually give a shit about defense, then I think that this was probably the only one that you could pick from this list. But also at the same time,
Ravens Bills had defense, even though it was 40 points. They played defense in that game.
They played some, yeah.
I'll put it this way. It was really interesting because this game was the only one where I could think of that was played well defensively, but also neither quarterback really looked bad. Like both quarterbacks looked good, but the defenses still played well.
Yep.
And that's what I think really clearly made it for me the sort of, the fit for game of the year. I mean, it was hard to pick between a couple of these, but I'm sorry. A game gets much less interesting to me when I see both teams scoring a ton. And that's just a personal opinion. Yeah. But just games get much less interesting to me when I see either team, but especially both teams, start to just put up 40s and more. So the fact that both teams were able to have their quarterbacks play well and their defenses play well, and of course, you can't overlook the fact that the stakes were so high in the game. So that was all factors for me into going into taking the NFC Championship.
So, when it comes to high scoring games, right? When I think, and that's part of the reason why I picked Ravens Bills, because when I think of high scoring games, I think back to that Rams Chiefs game where both teams scored almost 50.
There was most of the points were actually defense. I think like a quarter of them were.
Yeah. So that's kind of why it was kind of like the same thing for Ravens Bills. That's why I went there.
That's fair. That's a good point, and that's a good point. My mistake on that.
Yeah. Shane, I mean, it's not just bias. This Rams Seahawks series was great. I mean, that's best rivalry this year. If we did a best rivalry award, we don't even have to think about it. But all three of the games were good. But this was the highlight right here, the NFC title game.
For sure, and I mean, the first two games they were separated by 1 point and 1 yard. Like
that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
I completely forgot that part.
Yep.
Yeah, and then to have the tiebreaker in the NFC title game, in one of the loudest stadiums, it was absolutely rocking. I mean it's just for all the reasons you guys have mentioned, and just the stakes and the fact that it was close and high energy, big plays on offense and defense from start to finish. It was just it doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah. If there's any weird omen in this entire list, it's that we considered a ton of Seahawks games for Game of the Year, and we put down 3 Patriots games.
I was just going to point that out.
about to say, you want to just give the Pot Cookies Game of the Year to the Patriots because they sucked in a lot of their games. Like,
if that doesn't describe our thoughts for the Super Bowl, there isn't much else to go off.
But I'll tell you what, I did not pick Patriots games for this.
I didn't either. Here are our nominees: the AFC title game, Patriots Texans divisional round, Patriots Chargers wild card, the Tank Bowl between the Giants and the Raiders in Week 17, Steelers versus Browns, also Week 17, ironically, and Panthers versus Jets, where the final score is like 13-6 in Week 7, I believe it was.
Yep.
What did you take, Brandon, for your favorite award of this list, the Pocket Game of the Year?
Let me run down each one I didn't take. I didn't take the AFC Championship game because that was in a blizzard. So I don't listen. It's a low scoring game, but when you're in that much snow in a damn blizzard and you're playing a backup quarterback, you're not going to expect much anyway. So to me, I'm just like, that's whatever. Patriots, Texans, that game was crap. But once again, I expect nothing out of the Texans offense. I expect the Patriots to win that game. And they did. And same thing with the Patriots Chargers. I didn't expect much out of the game. Patriots were at home. They won that game. Those games went all exactly pretty much how I thought they would, except for the AFC Championship. But for weather reasons plus backup quarterback, I really can't fault it. Like, if that was just a crap game where it was like Bo Nix against Drake May and it was 10-7, in regular conditions, yeah, that's probably my Pot Cookies game of the year. But that game had other reasons why, and so did the other two. I didn't pick the Tank Bowl because Giants Raiders, we knew it was crap. Like we knew that, but the thing is, at least they're playing for something. They're not playing for a Super Bowl, but they're playing for the exact opposite thing. They're playing for the first overall pick. So at least there was something that they played for. And then Steelers Browns, yeah, I could pick that. Yeah, the Steelers pissed away a chance to win the division, but then they won it the following week anyway. So that game really means nothing that they lost it. And then not just that, it's a division game against a really good Browns defense. So by process of elimination, I picked Panthers Jets because the Jets are absolute dog shit. Like the Jets are so dog shit. All their games could have been considered, and not just that. But this is before the Panthers even knew who they were this year, and they were
awful. They were awful for the first 7 or 8 weeks. They were awful.
So and the thing is that game also ended with the same score pretty much as Steelers Browns. I think it was also 13-6. You just my God, man! That game was played in normal conditions. Listen, it was played with a backup, but it was at least played in normal conditions. And Tyrod Taylor is a good backup. He's a long time. He actually started for the Bills at one point. So, there's some reasoning there as to, and he had a shit game. He had 2 interceptions in that game. I think completed less than 50% of his passes. And then the freaking Panthers couldn't take advantage. They scored 13 points on a Jets defense that was not good this year. That didn't even have a turnover. Didn't have an interception this year. So, my God, there's a million reasons why that game sucked, and why those two teams to me sucked all year. Congrats, Panthers, you made a playoff game, but you went home like we all expected you to. So, Panther Jets easily to me was Pot Cookies because, my God, that game was abysmal from every way, shape, and form. So,
Shane, anything else you want to add for that?
No, it's just, in contrast to the other games on this list, at least some of them, it was end of season, they were playing for something. This was just just random week 7 when nobody cares. Yeah. So yeah, that's it for me.
Either was week. You know why this game was so bad? I didn't even double check if this was week 5 or week 7 because I think it also might have been week 5, and I didn't bother to double check. I didn't care. I didn't care to double check it. It was 7? Okay. Scoop, did you also take Panthers Jets?
No. It was interesting because as Brandon was eliminating every single game, he actually said one of the reasons I voted for this game, and then he kind of just went in a completely different direction than I did. So the one that I chose was Steelers Browns week 17. Now I'll dig into that for a second. They pissed away a chance to win the division. And yes, they won the division anyway the next week. And then they proceeded to lose by 24 on their home turf to the Texans.
True. This is true.
One of us got to go first. Go ahead.
No. I was just gonna say the only reason why I eliminated them mostly was because at least it's Stefanski against Tomlin. I didn't say that, but it's Stefanski against Tomlin, so that was important. 2 really good coaches going at it, and not just that, but at least in that game, at least it's a division game. Panthers Jets isn't a division game. So
no. I get why you chose Panthers Jets. I'm just saying that this game, the only reason that I didn't take any of the playoff games is because I could have. If I took one, I would have had to have taken them all. And honestly, I still think nothing was more of a Pot Cookies experience this year than watching every Philadelphia second half. But
it is very true.
But just in terms of the fact that it was like you were talking about, it was a division game, but if you're going to look at it from, and this is what I did, if you're going to look at it from an experience of not only what it was, but what it was set up for, if you're going to play with that type of mentality of, whether or not you play with that mentality of this is our chance to win the division, the fact that you didn't played for that and secured it the next week, and then laid the egg that reminds me of that big, famous egg sculpture with a tiny face on it. It's just the fact that the only thing that the Steelers gained out of that ended up out of that 3-game period is that they had less time to figure out who Mike Tomlin's successor was going to be. And that's probably a part of how they ended up on Mike McCarthy. So in real, if by transitive property, I'm choosing this game because it's the reason why they ended up with Mike McCarthy as their head coach.
Yeah. I'm just gonna say this out loud. I'm just gonna say it. There's a game of year that makes me poop my pants, get diarrhea.
Sounds like me last night.
Spit venom. Because of your caffeine, because of the caffeine and food poisoning issues.
Well, no. I don't want to get even further into it than I already am. Go ahead.
Diarrhea, spit venom, puke everywhere.
Head rotating like The Exorcist. Yeah.
And you know what? Nothing's gonna ever beat Matt Ryan versus Russell Wilson that year. That's the single worst game in the history of football. It's so bad. The Tank Bowl, I was actually going to puke because I was really tired. I felt nauseating. The Tank Bowl pissed me off so much because I was so excited for that game, like unruly excited for it.
You're the only one excited for the two worst teams in the league to battle for the number one pick.
Because I was like,
you're excited for two guys to play for who's going to replace them at quarterback.
Yeah, Dart was never going to get replaced. Maybe. I'm probably not. Anyway, but the thing is, I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. I get to put Bills Eagles on the TV. I can actually also watch the Raiders game on my laptop. I get to watch this game in full. I'm not jumping around on Red Zone. Obviously, I'm more focused on the Bills-Eagles game for obvious reasons.
You can argue that Bills-Eagles that night was worse because you heard me freaking out over it.
Like, that was so bad. And Scoop was at that game too and freezing his head off. But at the same time,
I wish it was just my head.
but the thing is, the Tank Bowl was so obvious, and this is what kind of frustrated me is I wish that like the game was more heavily watched because I think we were the only show in America that talked about it that night because it was clearly the Raiders were tanking it. It was asininely clear.
You were giving me play by play as I'm watching the Eagles Bills game. And as you're giving me play-by-play, I'm literally saying to you, Rob, the Raiders are actively tanking. They are. I can just hear it in like what you're describing to me, and I'm like, they're actively tanking. That's what they're doing.
They're active, and like the Giants are actually trying. God bless them. It hurts them every year, but they always try in December for some stupid reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, really. What?
I don't get it. But the Raiders, like genuinely, Pete Carroll knew he was going to get fired by that point.
Well, that's what I was thinking. Is he was the only coach that really, I think, knew that he was a dead duck.
Yeah, but then on top of it, like the amount of like right from the beginning of the game, Brandon remembers this. It's just like, false start by the Raiders, pass interference by the Raiders,
1,000 penalties.
There's like 1,000 penalties by the Raiders, and then once the score got too lopsided, I turned it off. But before it got lopsided, it's just like penalty by the Raiders. Another penalty.
On one drive.
Right, they had 5 penalties on one drive, and I was like, "This is the most disgusting football I've ever seen." And from my recollection, we were the only show that talked about it that night because I think I was the only one in America stupid enough to turn it on.
Because you're a psychopath.
See my previous sentence.
Like, I was the only psychopath stupid enough to turn it on because I knew that something stupid was going to happen that we were going to talk about on the show. So I turned it on and watched it.
If they had played that game overseas.
I wish they did.
You would have been the only one. The viewership for that game at 3 a.m. would have been 1, and it would have been
one,
you.
And it was me.
Could you imagine if they did put that game, like let's say they put it earlier in the year, let's say they did it like somewhere in London, could you imagine as the Raiders are actively tanking with 10,000 false start penalties in the game?
I mean, most of those games in London felt like one of the teams was actively tanking. We're not good football.
And
minus one game. There was one international game, well, 2, because Chiefs Chargers was good. There were 2 international games that were good in the span of 6. And are you guys ready for how many we're going to have next year? We're going to have Minimum 10, max 12.
Oh my god!
I'm positive.
Enough of this garbage.
And guess what? I'm trying to figure out how we're going to play in the Australia game. I think we're going to have an extra show.
There's no way we're gonna watch that game. That game's gonna be like I don't know, like 4:00 in the morning our time.
No.
That game's going to just go downhill in the other direction.
Guys, you know what I've heard about that game? You're going to love this. That game is going to be prime time, 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific.
What time is it over there?
I have no idea.
I'll check that right now.
What is 8 o'clock Pacific in Perth?
I thought you said 8 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, so it's
8
noon
p.m.
their time.
It's noon,
yeah.
exactly. Yeah, so it's at 8 p.m. Eastern.
Isn't like the noon the next day?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So are you guys ready for this? Here's my prediction. Week one, Friday night special won't be in Brazil, will be in Australia. So we're gonna have a show.
I got no problem with that. I love Friday night shows.
So yeah,
I'll be at
We used to do WTF on Friday nights.
I'll be at a different game.
and I know what the matchup is already. They announced it. I know what it is. It's the Rams versus somebody else.
Please,
I forgot who the other person.
Please be Seattle.
Good. Please be someone
But
good.
with our luck, it's
I
gonna
don't
be
know.
somebody like the freaking Bengals.
Melbourne NFL game.
It's gonna be like what is it? It's gonna be like freaking like Rams, Dolphins.
They only announced that it's the Rams, and they said it will be held. It's expected to be part of the NFL opening week, potentially held on a Thursday. So it's going to be on the Friday. You know what's the great part about this? It's at the cricket ground in Melbourne, Australia. So it's at a cricket ground. So have fun with the turf. It's at a cricket ground. And it's a multi-year deal. So we're gonna have this for the next few years.
Oh God!
All we know is that it's the Rams. Anyway, that's a side tangent. Okay,
I can definitely see it being some mediocre team.
But by the way, that rules out Rams Seahawks if the Seahawks win the Super Bowl, unless they decide to move that our home game that we're supposed to have in Melbourne. That'd be stupid. Best number one announcing team. We announced this a month ago. They're not even the number one team, which is stupid. It's Joe Davis and Greg Olson. They were incredible all year long. And then last one, best number one sideline reporter. I gave it to Kaylee Hartung once again for Prime Video. Brandon, what did you go with?
I went with one of my favorites again. I picked her, I think, last year and the year before. I picked her again, Tracy Wolfson. She carries that damn CBS broadcast on her back.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and we also so it was Hartung, Wolfson, Andrews, and Rinaldi. Because I picked teams because there were teams this year. Melissa Stark for NBC and Lisa Salters and Laura Rutledge for Monday Night Football. Okay, so Wolfson definitely carries that group on her back 100%. Shane, who did you take?
Wolfson, yeah. Honorable mention to Aaron Andrews.
Okay. Scoop, I know you're not the biggest on commentary, but who did you take?
Yeah, so I'll just be 100% transparent here. This is probably the one where I will admit to the most bias, and it's mostly because 80% of the games that I watch, I will say, are probably on this network. It is Tom Rinaldi and Aaron Andrews on Fox.
Okay. Yeah.
I could pick them out of a lineup. I probably couldn't pick out several of the others.
Yeah.
By default, I just end up watching the most games on Fox. So because of that, their highlights stick out the most to me. So I'm definitely Aaron Andrews and Tom Rinaldi here. But I will make a point of trying to diversify that next year because I would like to learn more about these other ones.
Yeah, Stark has always been a legend. I mean, she's done Thursday Night Football back when it was on NFL Network.
Yep.
The newcomer on this list is Laura Rutledge. Lisa Salters has always been a legend, of course. Laura Rutledge won this job because she was the best part of Monday Night Football's second crew. So they promoted her to the first crew, and rightfully so. Laura Rutledge is also one of the best in the business. This is a great crop. This really is. We're very lucky. This for the number one broadcast teams. We have the best sideline reporters we've ever had in this industry. I can 100% say that on every major network. This is incredible. And by the way, Stark and Hartong will bring you the Super Bowl together next Sunday night. So we'll see them together for that. Because Hartong also works for NBC. She works for the Today Show. So they put her on. They always put her on the broadcast for the playoffs after Thursday Night Football finishes up their schedule. So we'll see Hartong's first Super Bowl. We went a little over time, but it was fun. It wasn't too bad, honestly. 2 hours and 40 minutes isn't terrible, except we wanted to go a lot lower, but it's fine.
No, you wanted to go a lot lower. I didn't give a damn.
Yeah, but anyway, it was fun, so I'm not complaining at all. This is why we didn't do the movie. We were supposed to do Sharknado. We're going to do it next week because we would have died if we did the movie. So,
real quick, what's everybody's Super Bowl plans? Because everybody's got something that they're doing. So
the only thing I know that I'm doing is watching football.
Well,
I demand. We got invited to 4 parties. I asked my parents to say no to all of them. I hate Super Bowl parties. I'm done with them. I genuinely hate them, especially with. I'm gonna be honest, especially with blind Seahawks people. They anger the hell out of me.
Yeah,
really, they do. They anger the absolute crap out of me.
The only person outside of my family that I would watch a Super Bowl with is Robert.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
You didn't want to be there when we lost in 22 to the Chiefs. I literally laid on the floor like I was dead.
I turned off my phone, went and charged it, and just went and sat in my room for the rest of the night and the next morning. You think I was freaking bad like this year when we lost to San Francisco? 10 times worse that year.
Because I've been to Super Bowl parties and like this is my biggest problem with the Super Bowl. This is I also have a problem with Seahawks fans during this time. It pisses me off when there's people, and this is the case for I think every fan of a team, because we all have a fandom of a team, whether it's outwardly or not outwardly. Because I don't show my Seahawks fandom very much. I try not to, but for the Super Bowl, obviously I will. But the thing that makes me upset, and it's different for every other sport, because every other sport, and I get it, the NFL, it's a long season, right? We're in February. We've been doing this for months, for 4 months, right? I mean, it's been a long year. But here's the thing. We only watch football 3 days a week. Thursday, mm-hmm. Well, I'm just talking NFL, college aside. Thursday, Sunday, Monday. So that's when we do the shows. That's why we like doing them after. We pride ourselves on watching every game. To me, I think football continues to be the most accessible sport in the world when it comes to watching your local team. Just that. It's never been easier to just sit on the couch. It's never been easier to sit on the couch and watch your favorite team. And what makes me upset is there's all these people and this happens for championship games too. There are people who never, ever, ever take the time to watch their local team every Sunday, and then they become an absolute maniac in a championship and Super Bowl game. I'm like, you have not watched a lick of this team for 5 minutes the whole year, and now all of a sudden you care. It really frustrates me.
Wait for Sunday. Wait for Sunday because Eric, Patriots fan. Eric lives 2 blocks from me, so I'll be walking over to his house for a Super Bowl party of at least 15 to 20 people. And Eric is not just a Patriots fan; his father is a Seahawks fan.
Yes, that's great.
So I get to be right in the middle of all the chaos next Sunday, and I'm going to either being emotionally supporting Eric, because I said to him, I'm like, bro, you might get killed by Seattle on Sunday. I'm sorry in advance. Or you know what? Somehow you pull off the miracle of a lifetime, and you end up being the next Tom Brady-esque dynasty again, and I hate your franchise for it. So one way or the other here, this is going to be so magical, and I'm proud to be a part of it. This is my first Super Bowl party, I think, like outside of having it here at my place. So this is going to be fun. The only other time I was with my friends was maybe was the Falcons Patriots Super Bowl, and we were I think we were at my buddy Karam's house, and it might have been someone else's house. I don't remember. But it was like 5 of us, 6 of us. It wasn't big. This one is like 15, 20 people. This is like Eric's family, us, a couple of us, and like they will both be getting hammered and yelling at each other. And I want to witness the boxing match between him and his father.
Oh shit!
So
just to finish up my point, this is something that I just all I ask, right? Like, my dad watches a good amount of football at his desk, and sometimes he has to go shopping, so he goes shopping. Dude hasn't missed a Seahawks game all year. Dude has watched every single one minus week 1 when he was in Tahiti, and I think even then he recorded it and watched it.
That's so random.
My dad's not the biggest football guy in the world, but he watches every game. He gets upset, like he's somewhat like. If you're a crazy Seahawks fan, but you watch every game, and even if I don't agree with your opinion and you're crazy about your team, it doesn't matter where you're. As long as you're watching your team, then I have no problem with you. None. Because you actually cared to watch your team. But what I hate is when people are like, oh, and I get it. For baseball, like some of us Mariners fans like me, like I got it in the postseason. But I always do that with baseball. Same with basketball. Those are long-ass seasons. They're a bunch of games.
I try to watch every baseball game. I pride myself on that.
And that's great, but I can't do it.
I try.
Basketball, same thing. And it's like, but football to me, guess what? Every game's on your local station. There's only 20 some odd weeks.
Ow.
It's super easy. So you can't have this whole thing. If you're not a kid, like if you're a grown adult, you can't just be like, I am now all of a sudden the biggest fan in the world because we made an NFC title game. I hate people who are like that. I despise people who are like that because it genuinely is not that hard to watch your local Seahawks or your local Eagles or your local Chiefs or
especially
whatever.
Most of the games on a Sunday and everybody's home.
Yeah, and it's on. And guess what? Every game, even the games that are on that, like on Prime Video, guess what? The NFL makes those Prime Video games on your local station. You can watch them. Watch your local team. That's all I ask. Watch your local team and live with it. It's only 20 some odd weeks. It's not that hard. Don't jump on the bandwagon for the NFC title game. It angers the living hell out of me. Go, Scoop, go.
I was going to say, this is similar. That's very similar to a take that I have about it. That, I mean, this is probably, we all have our, old man shouting at the clouds moments on here. This is mine, or at least one of mine. I go to Super Bowl parties largely because I love the Super Bowl and I love football. So what drives me nuts is when I'm sitting down actually trying to watch the game, and there's somebody over there who, as Brandon puts it, these people who are watching and talking about, like, they don't, not that they don't know ball, but they don't care to know ball. Mm-hmm. Like, it's one thing. It's one thing to be trying to get into it. Obviously, I've got nothing against that. I respect it. I mean,
we have a UK buddy who's been a guest on our show, Toby, who is learning the NFL, and we're just like, dude, we love it. We accept it. Let us help teach.
That's a major. That's why I'm saying, like, this is not about, like, people who just don't know. Like, that's a major thing or a major difference. But like when I'm sitting there at a party and I'm trying to watch the game, and whether Philly's playing or not, usually it's pretty much they're not, because if Philly's in a Super Bowl, I don't care. I'm not going to no damn party.
But that's how I feel about the Seahawks this year. I ain't going to no damn party.
Yeah, but but it's when I'm sitting there and the thing that people are most interested in are the halftime performer or the commercials or the one thing or another. Like they're interested in just the most not football related things.
Can I piggyback off that? That's why I love the Super Bowl, because you know what? I care about the commercials. I care about the halftime. We talk about it on this show, but I'm there primarily for, and that's fine if you don't.
Give me the
fine.
game, damn it.
But that's exactly my point.
I don't care about Bad Bunny or whoever.
I could not tell you who performed in the halftime show any of the 15 Super Bowls that I watched, including the 2 that Philly won.
You don't remember your halftime performer for the games that you won?
Nope.
I remember the one. No, for the Minnesota one, that was JT. That was Timberlake. For the one last
I remember
year,
one bit of it.
Yeah, because it wasn't memorable. And for the one
JT
last
was
year, last year was Kendrick.
Yeah, Kendrick Lamar.
And then the loss, it was Rihanna, I think.
Yeah. Anyway,
again, I remember none of those.
So that's a thing too. Like, it's very different for us as fans than players, because players, the pageantry of the Super Bowl is part of the attrition process. To win a Super Bowl, you got to deal with all that crap. But for us as fans, the attrition, as pure football fans, the attrition is surviving all of that.
I just
and
remembered
people
something.
Don't care. Yeah.
Actually, I if I thought about it, I could have remembered the Rihanna one, because the team beforehand, there was a video on Instagram where all the players were singing like one line of each of our most famous songs, and for some random ass reason, Brandon Graham actually sounded good.
Because he's a pretty good singer. No, but that's always been my thing with the Super Bowl. I've been to Super Bowl parties. I've been to like 2 or 3, and I haven't been to a Super Bowl party since. When's the last time? The last time I went to a Super Bowl party was the last NBC Super Bowl, which was Rams-Bengals. That was the last time I ever went to one. Because after I went to that one, I was like, oh my God, there are people talking everywhere. Everyone's complaining that I'm the one screaming at the television. I'm like, I'm watching football. That's why I'm here.
That's why I like going over to Eric's, because his sister's a big Giants fan. His dad's a Seahawks fan. He's a Patriots. I don't know how the hell that works. But like everybody there, knows football at least to a degree. So we're all gonna be yelling at the TV for different reasons. So it's like, that's okay.
That's my thing. Like people are like, why do you yell at the TV? They can't hear. It's part of the experience. Damn it, let me live.
Or if you're like me, you yell at the TV every week, including preseason, because I hate my team and myself for some reason.
I'll still never get over the games we were on Discord for this year, and you were yelling at the team that our season was over, and I'm like, bro, we are up by 23.
I sound like a COD Black Ops 2 lobby. That's what I sound like.
I've never played COBs.
COD, not Cobbs. COD, Call of Duty.
I misspoke. I combined the words COD and Ops.
Old Call of Duty lobbies were
Cops.
No, but that's
I've never played Call of Duty.
You know what I think is going to be amazing when because I'm still trying to figure out how we're going to do this. We're all going to go down to LA for the Olympics, and Brandon is going to be either watching or being at the stadium for every USA game and blowing his gasket every time the other team scores a touchdown. I cannot wait for that. It's going to be amazing.
Especially if my quarterback, who's on the cover thing for the LA Olympics, especially if my quarterback is playing in it. So, really, don't you touch my quarterback. I don't care if it's flag. Don't touch my quarterback. Don't you touch my glorious king. How dare you?
Shane, but what's your experience with that? Like with the Super Bowl? Like with people who just don't care? Like, does it annoy you as much as we do?
Yeah, but luckily I don't find myself in that situation very much. I mean,
good.
The worst is like the worst thing that I'll have with that is like my sister will be sitting there watching the game who never watches sports ever, but she's not pretending to suddenly be a fan. She's just sitting there and like, my mom's sitting there, oh, go, yeah, and my sister's just looking around like, what happened?
Wait, I'm sorry to put your family on blast here, but who was one of your family members who said, "Oh, isn't that Russell Wilson a quarterback for the Seahawks?" Who was that?
No, yeah, my sister. No. Yeah. She didn't say. She said, because she saw Darnold. She said, "Wait, who's that?" I said, "That's Sam Darnold, their quarterback." And she goes, I thought it was Russell Wilson still. I was like, you're about 4 years too late, but 3 years, 4 years.
4 years, yeah.
She was like, oh.
Did you tell him that he's rotting in New York, New Jersey?
Yeah, she said, well, where is he now? And I said, the Giants.
He's in the dump. He's in the
And
prison.
she goes, oh. And that was it.
Oh my God. Well, Brandon, your dream has come true. At the end of the year, because Magneto is gonna blow up New Jersey on Avengers Doomsday.
I can't wait.
the New Jersey's
What's
gonna
Adventure
get blown
Tuesday?
up. Avengers Doomsday. The MCU.
Oh, is that the movie that I keep seeing people making jokes that this guy's not going to be in it?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And Magneto, Ian McKellen, who plays Magneto, who's an amazing character, he actually let it spill that he's gonna blow up the entire city of New Jersey. The entire state is gonna get blown up in the movie.
Yeah. You know, I'm gonna be cheering so loud when that happens because listen. New Jersey is garbage, but it's our garbage. It's like we love it, but we hate it just as much. So when we blow up in the movie, I'm gonna be so happy. I'm gonna be so happy.
When Magneto takes all of New Jersey and swipes it around with his bare hands, you're gonna be like, yes.
I'm going like this in the movie. Like, yeah, absolute peak.
You know what? I'm debating flying out to New Jersey just to see that movie in a New Jersey theater and see everyone lose their minds over Magneto.
Oh, just wait. Just wait.
Oh my God.
There's a lot of problems this year. There's that movie coming out, so the state's gonna get blown up, and the state's actually gonna physically get blown up by the World Cup this year. So we're screwed. Say goodbye to New Jersey. 2026 is the end of this state.
It's the end of the state. When
I thought drivers were going to be the end of your state.
When I get my Irish citizenship, we can all just go there and hang out instead of having to stay in the bombed New Jersey.
You know,
We'll just be walking around the European airports with our green pass. Oh, top of the morning to you.
Oh, Jesus!
The funny part is so Brandon's looking forward to New Jersey being blown up during the World Cup and in one of the greatest fictional universes in movie history.
At least we'll be known the same year. We'll be known for something.
Genuinely, why did Ian McKellen say that? He's like, the other day I just blew up New Jersey in a movie. It's like,
because
what the hell?
Because it's well known that everybody in America, when they there's that poll where they surveyed like all 50 states, whatever it was, and like what states they hate. It was like everybody's like picking like their neighbors or whatever. I think New Jersey was the only state that said they hated New Jersey. So everybody and like the surrounding areas all said New Jersey. I'm like, yeah, everybody hates us. I understand that. I hate us too. I'm proud to be from here, but I hate us too. So I get it.
So you're just like blowing up this state in a fictional universe is the greatest thing you'll ever see.
Oh, it's fantastic because you can't do it in real life, obviously. So
you could try.
I don't know.
World War III.
Get Jonathan Gannon within a 60-mile radius of the 215 area code, and we'll see how that lasts.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, this is going on much longer than I wanted. But I just don't understand why. I just don't understand why. Out of everything he could have said about Avengers Doomsday, his first thought was, "Oh, the other day I just blew up this state." I was like, "What?" Sure, man.
I mean, to be fair, I don't know many other quotes that would have gotten us talking the way that we are. So there's that.
That is that. But yeah, like Sir Ian McKellen, the knighted of British air, went, "Yeah, I blew up New Jersey in a movie." It's amazing.
I'm just happy he knows New Jersey exists because most people don't for some reason. They think, they see a map of the U.S. Oh, that's New York, and they'll circle New Jersey. Like, no,
the question is, does he know Central Jersey exists, and does he call it Port Cam or Taylor Roll?
Thank you. That's the real question I want answered.
Wait, what?
I
need those questions answered.
I know, but I just said Port Cam and Taylor Roll.
Cole, listen, it's fine.
It's close enough.
I've heard people say that here even.
Well, I do. This was supposed to go an hour and 30 minutes. Why can't I never go on time?
did
That's my
3.
job. And we did 3 hours.
doubled
Because I'm on
That's
the
a
show.
question for you guys.
Well, that's a question for me because I'm the one that's supposed to be moderating, and I just let you guys. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It went well. It's great.
We appreciate it.
All right. Well,
And goodbye.
And goodbye. Have a great Super Bowl week, everybody. We will see you on the Monday after the Super Bowl. Monday, what is it? Monday, February 9th. I think it's probably going to be 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific, somewhere around there on the 9th.
Figure it out.
So we'll see you then. And thank you for spending 3 glorious hours with us, yelling about New Jersey, yelling about football awards, and we'll see you guys on February 9th. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Peace.
All right. See you later, everybody.
everybody.
Carry also.
Peace.